the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's run it. It's FT Live. Scotty Braun, Todd Frazier, and Erik Kratz all in the same place. Lovely. Love that. Have a good weekend.
Very good.
Yeah?
Very good. Had our team party yesterday. I'm still hurting a little bit. But, yeah, the kids had fun. We just blew it out the window right down the hall here. We had a party. So
There you
good.
go.
It looked like it was at the city pool. But no, it was at your pool. Big pool. You on top of somebody's shoulders getting thrown into the pool.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
We're glad we have Todd today.
Yes.
Glad he's here.
I lost in cornhole, though, in the finals, in the championship.
Probably because you're not good at it.
No, well, I made it to the finals.
Against kids.
So I feel like the Buffalo
Against
Bills.
10-year-olds.
No.
Against adults, but that's going to
Adults.
be the
Yeah.
headline in the Tom's River Chronicle. Frazier actually lost in something in our town.
It's not going
to. Yeah, first time ever.
First time. There's a first for everything, all right? You know?
There
It's
is.
not actually
What happens?
Tom's River here. The address isn't actually Tom's River. He lives outside city limits.
True.
What are you talking about?
That's on the After Hours pod. Anyway, Russ Dorsey's going to join us in 15. We're going to talk to Ross Stripling in hour number 2 and John Ourand from the Sports Business Journal on that Kevin Brown situation. Also, later in the show, we're going to do Take It or Leave It. So drop a comment in the YouTube chat with something like, take it or leave it, the Yankees are toast. So you take it if you think that's true. If you're Todd, you leave it because you're like, I'm a little bit of a homer, and I feel like there's a chance.
Whoa.
Don't lead the witness. Don't lead the witness.
He was leading me there.
He was
Did you
leading
hear that?
you. He was leading you.
Son of a biscuit.
Anyway, let's charge the damn mound and start with the San Diego Padres falling 5.5 games out of a wild card position, which to me continues to shock me, frankly, Kratzy, that this team cannot put together consistent winning. They lose a lot of close ball games. They lost one yesterday to a Diamondbacks team also. Let's take you into the weekend because San Diego won Friday. The Diamondbacks had lost 9 in a row. The Padres lose to them on Saturday, and then they fall 5-4. But here's what stood out. Manny Machado called Sunday's game do or die, reading a tweet from Bob Nightingale. Now, it is August 14th. A, do you say that? B, is it true?
I'll take C. Was it before the game that he said this or after the game?
Of course it was before the game.
Had to be before.
But then when you lose, isn't it weird? Because it's not do or die, first of all. I mean, they're definitely in a bad spot, but what would you say if you're in the clubhouse with him? Like, yo, dude.
Pump the brakes,
Yeah.
guy. Like maybe he loves it's good that he's taking the leadership role, but he loves being out there like saying this stuff right now where it's like you can't just keep having meetings. They're like, okay, it didn't work. Let's have another meeting.
The meeting.
Like, let's have
Who's
another.
calling these meetings? Is it him?
Maybe.
I'm saying it's him, right?
He's calling most of the team
It has to be
meetings?
a player, right?
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
did
yeah.
a coach all?
They're the players'
doing it?
meetings.
No. They're
Who's
players
calling
meeting.
them?
The other, like it was. We're just talking
Machado's
about
the
last
captain.
week. Yes, right. Whether he should be or not, I think Xander's a different kind of leader. I think Manny's more emotional. Xander's not emotional. He hasn't been there as much. Manny was kind of that big signing. He kind of got Tatis. Him and Hosmer were the guys that got Tatis. Like, hey, we got to have this guy. Spring training, first game of the year. He's got to make the team. They were pushing for it. So
when he first got called up.
When he first got called up.
Yeah, because then they weren't
as
too
a
thrilled
rookie.
with him. But
Then there was like some maturity things, right? But
yeah.
And so I'm assuming it's him calling this stuff and saying it in the media, like it's do or die. And they had it. They had the game. And they found another way to lose. And they continue like they're almost the exact same run differential as the Cubs, who are half a game out. Their expected wins is exactly what the Cubs is supposed to be, and it's 2 games higher than the expected wins of the Phillies. They're just not figuring out how to win. There's no way to quantify this other than like telling you these stats, telling you the fact that certain guys are not having good years. But like Jake Cronenworth, we always talk, he's having a down year. He had a big hit yesterday. Like they figure – it's not figuring out how to win. They need to figure out how not to lose because just last week they had a players-only 20-minute meeting, closed doors, media couldn't come in. Went out, and they're 3-7 in their last 10.
4-2 in the 7th, blown lead. Lourdes Gurriel, pinch hit, 2-run homer. Alec Thomas, sack fly in the 8th. Todd Father,
Love
run
Alec.
differential. I'll continue to say it.
Yeah.
Overrated. Helpful stat, but overrated.
Wins. I'm looking for wins. I'm looking for wins, man. To say do or die right now with 44 games left, I think that's a little too much. I don't think he should have said that.
But if
kind of – go ahead.
No, if he says it with 30 games left, are you like, too little, too late?
I would say, yeah, with 1 month left, if you're what are they out again? 5?
5.5.
5.5?
Mm-hmm.
It's that time. But you got another what? Half a month left, a little more than half a month. Let's see where they are come September 1st.
It's been that time.
Yeah.
It's been that time
I
for
agree.
a long
I
time
agree.
for the Padres.
And that's why I always say to people, they're like, don't worry in the beginning of the year. You know, we lost 8 out of our last 10. Bro, every game counts. That's why when you get to the nitty gritty, it's like, damn, you look back. There's at least 5 to 8 games where you look back at the end of the year like, damn it, we should have won those games. And now look at yourselves. You're 5.5 out. And
Yep.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
You're right. No, and it's a damn shame because I guess the only other thing I'm thinking about is, does this team need to put something out like that ever? Right? At some point, you look at the standings. Let's say this was a month from now and they're 7-8 games out. And you're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
But do you do that as a team? Do you say in baseball in a season of 162, do or die today before a game starts? I'm all about transparency, saying what you want.
Yeah.
But to me, that was probably, I don't know, just
Not
putting you
good.
in a weird spot.
No,
I would
no, it
just say,
wasn't
yo,
good.
we got to get our shit together. Today's got to be a day we start to step it up versus it's do or die today.
Listen, you leave that meeting, I look at the dude and I'm like what? Do or die? No. Hey, listen, I love Manny. I think he's great. I got along with him. Why? Just one of those things where maybe he was having a bad day. Maybe he's just one of those things where he's sick of people talking to him and asking him the question. He's like, all right, I'll give you something. Do or die. Leave me alone. I don't know what he was going through, but when you leave that meeting, you're like, shit. All right, BP better be good. Ground balls better be good. Everything better be good because if not, somebody's going to come back and say something. But I don't know. I don't look too much into it, but saying do or die, I don't think he should have said that.
I just feel like he didn't need to say that.
There you go.
But I like that he's showing us how he's feeling because clearly how he's feeling.
Yeah.
And maybe there was more to the, talking with Bob. I don't know. I don't know everything, but when you say do or die, there's guys on the team that are going to sit there, and it's a very veteran team in the starting lineup is a veteran team. So it's not like guys who are on the bench are going to sit there and go, oh man, is Manny talking about me? Like this is panic city.
Yeah.
I don't think there's panic. I just think they have to figure out a way to win. And they have the lineup, they have the roster to do it. They just haven't.
And the Dodgers continue to thrive. What stood out to me the most is Julio Urias has been up and down all year. He's not the biggest swing and miss guy in the league. 12 strikeouts yesterday, 8th straight dub. Do you know they're on pace for 98 wins now after all that? They might have a 100-win season. You're right. It's a snooze fest with these guys. I'm telling you. It is. Career high 12 Ks. Urias, by the way, can make all the money back right now because he's had a wobbly year, right, for him.
Yeah.
But you finish strong for the next couple months, and then you do a little playoff dance.
Ebbs and
You're
flows.
going to get 100+ mil because I don't know. I'll look this up right now
Ebbs and flows.
he was called up at a really young age. I think he was
100+.
19?
He might be looking at
200 plus. Do you know how old he is?
27.
Like just turned.
Yes, a new 27.
A new 27. That's at least what? A 6-year? He's probably getting a 7-year contract.
I think they're going to probably balk at the 7. He'll probably get 6.
I'd be like,
But I bet he
Patrick
gets-
Corbin pulled that off, and he was older than me.
Patrick Corbin
I like
didn't
6.
have
I like 6.
didn't have I think I'm not even going to say.
Always keep this in mind, okay? With a free agent. A lot of guys will say, oh, I like 6, right? Todd Father's a GM. I like 6. You're a GM. I like 6. All right. I'm the GM that goes, all right, we don't love 7, but we like 7, and it's going to get the job done. So if most people think he's a 6, you usually go one more year there. And Corbin was 6 years, 140, but he was, I think, 2 or 3 years older than him. So, and that was years ago at this point.
And this is his 7th season in the big leagues at 27 years old. He was 19. 19 when he got called up. Like that's another level, like getting up there that quickly. He's struggled with injuries. Obviously, you're not paying for necessarily the most consistent getting all of his starts, but more recently he's been healthier. So to show the rest of the season if he can stay healthy, I think especially what teams are doing now, they haven't been doing it as much with pitchers as they have with position players. Stretching contracts out from like, oh, I think he'll get a 5-year deal. We'll stretch it out to 7, almost same amount of money, but the AAV stays way down.
Mm-hmm.
I see Urias getting 170.
Some people are saying, where's he signed? Yeah, actually, one of our frequents, Justin Yamas in the chat said, I see 175. It's a good call. Oh, and now he just upped himself, 184 because he's young. Well, we'll see. But people saying, where is he going to sign in the offseason?
Yankees.
Cubs.
Yankees.
Why do you
Maybe.
laugh at that?
No, because
every time I say Yankees, you laugh.
well, I see you on TV a lot talking Yankees
why
ball.
not?
No, you're right. They're in the running. Obviously, they were in the running for most guys, as
Every
they should.
one of
Although,
them.
you know, the guy that they signed big this past offseason's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So
Not
eventually,
doing well.
and here's my one problem on the Yank side is that they're different now. They don't just spend recklessly. They're not that the Mets will spend and say, screw the luxury tax number. The Yankees don't do that anymore. Right? That's not the Yankees.
They don't. Hal Steinbrenner, the person who's writing the checks, he is calling Aaron Judge and saying, this is what we're going to give you, said, I am not going over the CBT because the penalty money goes to these broke teams that don't want to spend the money I've already given them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving them any more.
And
I kind of like it.
You say broke like they don't have any money. They all got the darn money.
That's
the
right.
biggest thing, the biggest problem right there.
Right, and he's pissed about it.
No doubt.
But Julio, he's going to get paid. I didn't realize he was two-time Cy Young top 7.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 years.
Not too shabby. Anyway, so the Dodgers look fantastic as usual.
Paid that man his money.
Splash his pop.
In the National League, obviously the Braves have been the best team consistently for the year. But then you're getting to a point where the Dodgers look like they're very firmly right up there with them, right? I mean, I'm betting our friends at BetMGM have a pretty strong Dodgers-Braves prediction running right now, even though I think Kratz's Phillies look good. We'll talk more about them a little bit later on. Lastly, we usually don't focus on one particular play in an opening segment like this, but it was so weird, so out of this world. I don't think I've ever seen it before in a big league game. And I'm actually going to say I kind of feel bad for the dude. So we're showing it right now. His name's Luis Medina. Makes a nice stop on a comebacker. And then he jogs over to the bag almost like he's going to the dugout. Like almost like you'd be jogging off the mound to go to the dugout. And gets beat by Ildemaro Vargas. I guess also the timing of not looking back and seeing like, oh, this dude's still going to bust it down the line and beat me. That was one of the ultimate brain farts that I've seen in baseball.
Did he get a hit for that? I didn't look.
Oh, that's a knock.
He got a knock?
No, yeah, he didn't bobble it.
Everything's a knock now, which we'll cover at some point.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I don't know. You get to
That's
some
a knock.
people.
You beat him
I love
to the
Did
back.
you see EY Jr. over there going crazy
So
first base? He gave that little like, let's go. I loved it.
Because to me, that shows a lot about the Nationals.
No doubt.
As a team, they're in the basement.
No doubt.
They're one of the basement dwellers. But they're still doing things that they feel like are important to do. EY at first base showed me a lot as a first base coach on that play. Medina was part of that whole. He was at the alt site with me in 2020, the only year that there was an alt site. But
Yeah.
And a young, impressionable pitcher being there and the people they surrounded him with
Mm-hmm.
is kind of what I hit on with the whole Davey thing. And now he goes to a place like Oakland. How many veteran pitchers does he have to look to? And I'm not saying in that
Maybe
play
one.
a veteran pitcher is going to be like, hey, Medina, get over there. I'm not saying that. It's the whole making your bed theory. Making your bed in the morning has nothing to do with anything else you do during the day, except it sets a tone for how you're going to approach your day. Same thing when you don't surround young pitchers with good role models, good guys to just watch. Like, wait a minute, I got here on the 2:30 bus. Why is the other starting pitcher already sweating and doing his stuff? Like, even if you never even ask the guy, and I'm not saying anything about Luis Medina, he had a brain fart. He's never going to do that again. But it's a mindset of who you surround young pitchers with, how their trajectory goes. Ask any big-time pitcher, that is how it is. And it's not always like a catcher. People are like, oh, well, you were there. You should have told him this stuff. It can be a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes when you're 20 years old, you look at a 40-year-old catcher and you're like, bro, please. I throw 102 miles an hour and I'm 19. Like, what can you tell me? And that's fine. But there's other dudes that have played in situations and like can show you how you should be. So I just think it sucks for him.
Yeah. I'm
It's
with you.
embarrassing.
Hey, but and I will say on the other end, the Nats, they're playing good ball. They're playing inspiring ball this year. They're only 13 games under. Some people had them as a lock for like 100 some odd losses. Not necessarily the case. They're only a half game worse than the friggin' Mets right now. Davey Martinez is doing a nice job with the Nationals. Him and the organization in general, they're doing things right. They're rebuilding right now. It was ownership decision. But everybody below them, nobody should be getting fired right now. You know what I'm saying?
Nobody should be. And I also want to say, in this day and age, you hear a lot of kids say, oh, he's a tryhard. I don't know if you've ever heard that.
I've heard that a million times.
Tryhards, I can't, tryhard. Like somebody would say Vargas was a tryhard right there for running down the line. What?
Oh, come on.
No, this is real life. Like, go out and do your best.
Yeah.
You might lose, you might be embarrassed, but go out and do your best.
Hell yeah.
Play hard.
I got nothing to say.
No, that is 100% true. Try hard. That gets on first base when he shouldn't. Okay, I'll take that. That's why he's in the bigs right now. Let's hit our first poll question today in the National League. Who do you think the Cy Young winner would be right now? Spencer Strider, Zach Gallen, Blake Snell, Justin Steele, or someone else? And you can scan that QR code on your screen with your phone. Otherwise, watchstadium.com/foul territory. Russ Dorsey from Stadium is going to join us next. I think he's got a different MVP candidate besides Acuna. We're back at it on Stadium. It's FT Live. Braun, Frazier, Kratz, and Russ Dorsey with us right now. Okay, Russ, so I've been told that you'd like to maybe throw another name into the National League MVP conversation. Is this true?
Well, I still think the front runner is Ronald Acuna Jr. When you're on pace for almost 40 and 80 bags, that's an MVP. But I think what Freddie Freeman is doing is incredible right now. The guy is hitting 400 with a 485 on base, almost a 700 slug since the All-Star break, and he's carrying that team out in LA right now. And just it goes to show the greatness of Freddie Freeman. I'm not saying he's going to beat Ronald Acuna Jr., but I would believe he's probably going to be the guy that comes in second place.
Hey, don't forget about one of my favorites too, Olsen. I mean, Jesus, 43 bombs, 107 ribbies, baby. Don't forget about the other big dog there in Atlanta.
Oh no, I hear you, man. I hear you.
Talk to me
think
now.
One of the coolest things that's started to get out in the baseball socials over the last couple of days is that people seeing that Acuna, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, those guys are going to the post every day, every single day, and to be able to produce like that, like you guys play in the big leagues, like it's not easy to do that, and so for them to be as good as they are, for those guys individually to be as good as they have been and play every day, that's not a small feat. And you don't see guys playing, buck 60, 162 even anymore, guys getting days off, etc. Like, I think it is a credit to them. It's a credit to the Braves for, trusting those guys to get their bodies right to play that many games.
So if Acuna gets hurt, is that opening the door? Is it that close? Like if we get a 2-week injury.
How about a 2-week slump?
Oh, he's not going to have a slump. Dudes like that don't slump.
What if he does for a few weeks?
Then he'll probably only drive in 6 runs and steal 3 bases.
Okay. Like how close is it though, Russ?
That's what I mean.
Is there
2
still
weeks?
Basically, I know you're saying, and I agree. Acuna is still the guy right now, but he was hotter in the beginning of the year, correct?
He's hitting 330.
I know, but is there any chance that someone else wins the award?
I have a hard time believing with the historical aspect of what Acuna's doing. Like if he ends up hitting 34 homers and swiping 82 bags, that's your MVP, right? And I think when you look back at like when Miggy won the Triple Crown, the historical significance of that. Obviously, if he went 40-80, like he would be the 6th guy to ever go 40-40. That's a really big deal. But I definitely think there's going to be people who look at what Freddie's done, especially in the second half, where you have the recency of the second half in your mind, and say, you know what, this guy is hitting damn near 500 over the last 60 games of the season. That's not insignificant. So I still think, if I had to say today, it's Acuna. But I do think it might be closer when we get to that last week of the season if Freddie can continue to hit this pace.
Hey, I got a question for you. Do you think he's going to have 70 stolen bases? Do you think Acuna's going to get there? He needs 15
here we
more.
Go.
This has been an ongoing thing here we talked about. I said somebody's going to get 70 or more, and Eric was pissed off I said it. Scooter was kind of like on my side.
Because you said it was because of base size.
AJ didn't think it was going to happen. So what do you think? You think he gets 15 in a month and a half? Almost.
100. He might have 15 by the end of this week.
Let's go. Let's go.
Like, I don't think it is a matter of if he can do it. I think the fact that you're seeing a guy who wants to steal bases. Like, he enjoys stealing bags as much as he enjoys hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And I think that's really cool for the game, right? You have kids who have never seen a guy swipe that many bags before, right? Like, I obviously know, when D. Gordon was swiping 60 bags, and you go way back when Eric Davis and those guys were stealing 80 and 90 bags, and obviously Ricky Henderson. Like, I think that's been a great part of the season. Like, watching guys like Ronald Acuna Jr., who's not only one of the most dynamic players, but one of the best athletes we have in the game, saying, nah, I'm going to be the guy that does it, and I'm going to hit bombs too.
All right, let's take you to the AL West, okay, Russ? So Texas leads by 2.5 games over Houston. The Astros are mostly playing like the Astros. They had a good weekend besides the loss to the Angels yesterday, 2-1. The offense looked really strong before that. So what's your take on this division right now as the Angels are basically falling apart and Seattle is making a really strong push, not for the division. They're not winning this division, but they look like a wild card team too. So you've got 4 pretty good ball clubs in here. It turned out to be a decent division, right?
Yeah, I think you have it's very top heavy, obviously. Like, and that's not to knock Seattle what they've been able to do as of late, but I'm really excited to watch the AL West down the stretch because you have 2 teams at the top that are probably 2 of the best 5 teams, 6 teams in baseball right now. Both made big splashy moves at the deadline. Both teams are starting to play really good ball. So the Rangers are 10-6, or 10-2 in their last 12 games. You have the Astros that are 8-4 this month as well. So both teams playing really good baseball and doing it in different ways, right? Like the Astros haven't had the most consistent offense this season, but they're finding ways to score runs. They're starting to get some guys to wake up. Jeremy Pena is starting to wake up. You're getting Bregman, swinging the bat well. You're getting Kyle Tucker doing what he's been doing for a while now. And then you have the Rangers who you go out and get Scherzer, and then that rotation's kind of in flux where you're trying to figure out what goes where and who moves down in that rotation, who becomes a swing man. But also an offense that can put up 6-7 runs easy. So I think this last 6 weeks of the season, it's going to be really fun to see these 2 teams that I believe can both get to the World Series. It's just, who gets that last swing at the end of the day.
Let me ask you this about the Angels. Ohtani not pitching anymore, like exhaustion, tired, whatever it is. You think about it, it's got to be a tough situation knowing they're trying to make a playoff bid. They should have traded him. I said it from day one. They would have got some crazy people back for him. And now it's like, oh, he's just going to hit now. So what goes there? It's kind of confusing to me. Is he hurt? Like what's the prognosis you think is going on over there?
I honestly, Todd, think it is actually exhaustion, right? Like we've had since the deadline, it's been the cramping, it's been the fatigue, and it's just a guy that, from everything that the Angels are saying, is exhausted, right? And the production offensively hasn't dropped. Like he has an 1,100 OPS since the All-Star break, so that's been able to maintain. But I think it's a guy that has pressures that other people don't have in the game, like trying to be your team's best starter and best hitter without your guy Mike Trout in that lineup, trying to wait till Trout comes back. Says you have to have a really big back if you're Shohei Ohtani, and you're trying to carry this Angels team that hasn't been able to get to the postseason while you've been there in your last 2 months before you hit free agency. Everybody's talking about, you're the best player in the world. You're going to get $600 million this offseason. I think there's pressure there that other people don't have. And I do believe because you're trying to do things that people don't do physically, that does provide some wear and tear. Do I think this means that Shohei can't do it? No, because he's clearly shown us that he can. I just think with the situation that the Angels have right now where you don't have Trout and you're just really hoping that with the moves that they made at the deadline, Shohei being great, that you can get to the postseason. But I do think that wears on you after a while.
I also think, Russ, this is a guy who wants to win more than anything, but I mean that long term. I think he's pretty well aware at this point. His team is not going to make the playoffs. To push to a point where you could risk injury when you're about to reach your contract year, it doesn't make sense. He's got to think about himself for once here with the Angels. He's given them more than enough, right, for years, and they have not given him a playoff team. So my question is, do you think that other teams are looking at this year for him in particular, where he is better than ever, and just wondering, okay, we have this plan with him as the Angels where we kind of let him do what he wants. Should we try and pitch to him to help recruit him that we would tweak that just a little bit so that he can start for us down the stretch? You know what I'm saying? Like, if this is a scenario next year and he's on the Dodgers or the Cubs or the Mariners, I don't want him starting a tire in mid-August. I'd rather spread him out, which is always the difficult balance.
Yeah, so it would be kind of similar to like when he first came over and they were doing, 6-man rotation. They were giving him the extra day. I think that's something that's realistic, and it's something that helps you protect your investment in him. If he's going to get the money that we all believe that he's going to get, it's just like, all right, man, you need a blow. We're going to give you some time away for a week where you're just going to swing the bat, and then when you're feeling right, we'll get you back out there. Because I think not having him in the last 6 weeks of the season, that is your most important time to have your best pitcher available, is a really big deal. And if you're a team that you're knocking on the door of a postseason appearance, right? You can't not have your guy in there. That's like the Braves not having Spencer Strider. That's like, the Dodgers, like you just got talked about, not having Julio Urias. And so to protect. Sometimes you got to protect the guy from himself. Not that he doesn't want to go out there and compete. He does. That's why he's at the point where he is. But you got to say, hey, man, you can help us, swinging that bat. You don't necessarily have to go out there and pitch till your arm falls off trying to help us get there. We're going to help you make sure you're 100% when we really need you.
Two teams that are right at the wild card cusp. One in the American League, one in the National League. The Cubs, right there behind your right shoulder, and the Mariners, we just talked about. They both made an incredible run. You have to choose one. They made an incredible run in the last 10 to 15 games. Who's in, who's out?
I have it up here right now. The Mariners schedule the rest of August. They have Kansas City, they have Houston, they have the White Sox, they have Kansas City again, and they have Oakland. This is the perfect opportunity for the Seattle Mariners, who have been very inconsistent, to get themselves back in the race. But you look at the way the Cubs are playing baseball in their division, and they've started to believe, that group, that they can get to the postseason, right? They went out and they got Jamer Candelario. He's played well. Dansby Swanson is starting to swing a hot bat. Ian Happ has really, bounced back. Justin Steele has been fantastic this entire season. You guys mentioned him as a possible Cy Young candidate. I do think it's the Cubs, just because I haven't seen enough consistency from the Mariners. I know they went on this red-hot streak in August, but when you look at the Cubs' last 50 games, they're looking more and more each week like a team that should go to the playoffs. So I'm going to say the Cubs, even though the Mariners' time to strike is right now.
All right, good stuff. Russ, great to see you, man. Happy Monday. We'll see you later in the week, all right?
Gents, appreciate it.
Thank you, bud. See you soon. All right, when we swing back on Stadium, we love umpires. Oh, did I say it?
Thanks, Claudia. Talk to you later.
Sorry. We love robot umpires on Foul Territory because humans make a ton of mistakes, and there's just too much on the line these days. So we're about to pop off. The Phillies game just had some brutality to it, and it cost the Phils the game.
It's got similarities, but you got two dogs there. You got two dogs. Talk to me about the dogs, man. They look cute.
Yeah, I got two dogs.
Two.
Hey.
Both those bobble. Both the dogs bobble, like their heads bobble. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Not positive, but it's definitely they look just like them, which they did a pretty good job.
What's their names?
The little brown one's Hogan. I adopted him during COVID season. When you got lonely being by
Named
yourself.
after Hulk. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because I lived in Tampa, so yeah, that was actually it.
No doubt.
And then the other one's Axel. He's half lab but half Aussie, so he's pretty cool. Got crazy blue eyes. He's a really cool dog. Really sweet. Hogan's more like he's like 4 years old now, 3 years old. He's like the 72-year-old grandpa that you're not allowed to walk on his lawn. Yells at you, bro. He's got the worst attitude I've ever seen. He's like angry all the time. Salty,
Just
big
angry.
salty guy. Yeah, so I adopted him from the Humane Society. So he went from no house to penthouse, and he's just thinks he's got it figured out. He's got the world figured out, but he's super salty. He doesn't get his way. He like complains. He'll roll over. He'll lay on his stomach. He's just kind of like me.
Do you talk to him? Like, will you say, dude, you have it all now, and this is how you're treating us?
Oh yeah, I tell him every time, I'm like, dude, we can go back to the streets. It's cool. he's either like the 72-year-old man that like can't walk on his lawn, or he's like, I mean, you guys got kids, and they go, oh, I hate you guys. I wish you weren't my family. And then, like your dad packs your bag and says, go for it, man. Go find a new one. He's like that too, like complains. I'm like, dude, we can just go back to the streets. No, put him outside. Yeah, put him outside.
You ever open the door? Yeah, you ever open the door and you just let him out there?
Yeah, go for it, dude. He'll take one step outside and be like, oh, it's dirty. Can't.
And now back to Foul Territory.
Back on Stadium, it's FT Live. Braun, Frazier, Kratz. Happy Monday. even if you're struggling, even if the weekend was great for you, we're still here. So the poll question, it's true. I mean, Todd Father had a weekend. I kind of had a weekend. Whatever, we're here. Anyway, poll question for the first one, NL Cy Young. Who do we have right now?
Zach Gallen.
I like Gallen too.
Clean sweep, baby. The
Steele
winner
did
at the
a thing,
moment
though.
is Justin Steele by a landslide.
He's having a year,
There's
but
some Midwest bias going on Stadium, which is okay. That's your right. You don't get to vote though, unless you're a writer. Question number 2, if you want to scan the QR code on your screen or watch stadium.com/foul territory, just flipping it over because we want to give equal rights to the American League. Cy Young Award winner right now, Garrett Cole, Kevin Gossman, Luis Castillo, Framber Valdez, Shohei Ohtani. Think about it, okay? We'll give you a few
Real easy
minutes.
one there.
Homer. No, I'm with you.
Homer Bailey's not on there.
Your old teammate. $100 million contract guy. Anyway,
delicious.
Ready? Let's pop off. Presented by Cereal Pop. Some Cocoa Pebbles right next to me. And some Fruity Pebbles right in front of Kratzy. Okay?
It's fruit.
And those
fruit.
Fruity Pebbles
Here we
are red.
All 4.
Bases
Wow.
loaded.
We're
ball
looking at the
4,
call for
2
Bohm.
outs. I'm sitting in the suite because that's the life I live.
Mm.
And they call this pit, I mean, got him.
Pitcher walks
And
off
Alex-
like he had it too.
Alex, that's my guy, Alex, right there. McKay, the umpire, he had a great day.
He
He
did.
had 3 missed calls. None of the other ones were in big spots. Harper was upset, but it was a borderline call.
The one later on.
Later on
Yeah.
in the
It was still
8th or 9th inning.
wrong, I think. But
3 missed calls. That's an epic game right there. Unfortunately, that's when
You got to be at your best.
I mean, it's the biggest time. They brought
Terrible.
that's the matchup that the Phillies wanted. They brought Thielbar in to face Schwarber and Harper, and they tried to mitigate their way through Bohm. And he threw a pitch. You can't reward a pitcher for throwing a pitch 3 inches off. And I feel like I gave FT live magic to the Twins pregame because I was at the game and I was hanging out with Caleb and Emilio Pagan. Pagan's been watching the show. He wants to come on. He said he loves the show.
Anytime, baby.
Thielbar and I played on Team USA. He was the assistant college coach coming out to play in the preliminaries for the qualifiers for the Olympics. And now he's in the show for the last 4 years, pumping. He hit 94 yesterday. But you can't reward that guy with the bases loaded. You got it. You got to lock in, and he did not lock in. And I really feel like Alex, just based on seeing the reaction of everything, how he handled everything, he felt like he made the mistake. Because he didn't throw Bomer out. Sorry, he didn't throw Bomer out for saying anything to him. He threw him out because he threw his bat, equipment warning, and then he threw his helmet. He gone.
No, he got double fine. So you got equipment violation. That's a fine. Then you got thrown out. That's another fine.
How much? How much is that costing him?
$5 to
$2,000?
$1,000.
Yeah,
$5 to
$5
$1,000
Total?
I got thrown out one time. It was like $750.
Okay.
Yeah, but you
But-
said a lot.
Also, inflation.
I was like
that
this.
doesn't go up at this point.
It's all charity. It's all for charity.
I know,
He's
I
doing
know.
this
He
for
goes to
charity.
bats.
Yeah. There's the bat slam.
He said, "This is for charity," and he threw his bat out. That's really bad.
That's a tough
His
one.
whole glove is outside the square.
I know. So we complain
Rectangle, whatever you call it.
every day for years about umpires. We at some point, and we can talk more about this in the offseason, but
No.
at some point we are going to be close to technology saying, hey, I can do this better. You have to fix the glitches because otherwise we know the game. The sport will take advantage of any glitch.
Oh,
Okay? So it can't be like, oh, there's one spot, or we need to adjust the zone first so that this thing is accurately placed, right? Things that are way smarter beyond what I can even tell you on a screen right now. But at some point, we do need to say, hey, robot, what do you think?
No. You're talking about glitches like it's a video game. These are real men playing. Get it out there where they get 3 or 4. Hey, go to the monitor, see if it was a ball strike. I want to appeal that one, like they do in the minor leagues. I love that.
I like the challenge system.
I like the challenge system. I don't want robots. I don't want that. I want a real umpire. I want the arguments. I want the yelling. I want the yelling from the dugout because you can't yell at a computer if they call it a ball.
Yeah, but
or
there's so
strike.
much money on the line. Like, imagine if your bank account was still being run by someone keeping track on a piece of paper.
So
You'd be
that-
like, dude, it's 2023. We don't do that anymore.
But that's why I think if you're really true to yourself, like an out safe call at first. Oh, no, challenge it. Well, be honest with yourself. Just like at home plate. Now, that's definitely not a strike. And that much is a ball. You know what I mean? So, like, you know your zone. I want to challenge it. You get 3 or 4 a game. You miss one, you get down to 2. If you keep it, then you still stay at 3. 3 a game. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game.
I do believe that is what is going to be the next step. They're going to do the challenge system because that
I
could
would
be
love
a
that.
buffer period
I don't see
to
a
see if
problem
they
with that.
eventually want to
Tennis,
just take you
they
to
do it
all
in tennis.
auto.
Tennis, they start clapping.
I don't think it'll be all of them. I just don't think it's right yet. You heard it earlier.
Yeah.
One of our first interviews, we had Joe West on. It's not right yet. They have to get it right because you can't have this situation. Yes, he made a mistake. The umpire did. To me, the first step before we do robos, before we do any of that stuff, you got to have the umpires be accountable. And in this case, he's good. He made the mistake in the situation. That's not going to solve this case. Or maybe, what if we do replays on strikeouts? Like, you got to swing, like the whole, like people who respond in chats who are like, oh, it's too close to take. No, dude, we're not in high school anymore.
I can't stand
No,
that.
when you see 92 miles an hour
It's
plus,
a ball.
and you're seeing 100. Durant came in at the end of the game throwing 102. He was down. His velo was down to 102.
The ball's moving that much.
He threw a 100-mile-an-hour splitter later in the game. The strike zone is the strike zone, and guys aren't going to get it perfect, but there has to be an accountability system. And I think the replay is part of that, but I also think it's okay if you send a guy down, if you act out of sorts as an umpire.
Still going to get paid.
Still, yeah.
Guaranteed
Paid minor
contract,
league money.
right?
No,
You get paid minor league money? You're not going to do that to a guy that's got tenure, though.
That won't
That's
happen.
like if a dude in the bigs.
Well, they do it for us.
Yeah, I was going to say, go ahead. Continue your
Okay,
story.
I will continue. Ready?
Sorry.
If you're Joey Votto, okay, and he's fine. He's having a fine year. But let's say you're Joey Votto and you're hitting $120. Hey, we're going to send you down. No, you're not.
No, they're sending him to his house.
Right, and just paying him off, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a
Phantom
contract
IL.
that he earned as
Or Phantom IL.
Okay.
But
That's
he's
a
still getting
mile
big
right
league
there.
pay is my point.
Fine.
So if you've been an ump for X amount of years, it's a union thing. They're unionized. They're not going to go, hey, my dude's been in the show for 20 years. You're not going to tell him, hey, you sucked this week. We're paying you less. You want to send him down to tune up? Okay. But you're not paying him less. I'm representing them right now.
So Al Porter, who's been there for the last 9 years,
Yeah.
has exemplary stats. He has earned his playoff appearances. He has earned his crew chief logo that he has right now. He's earned that because he's one of the better ball strike umpires. Who cares what happens on the base paths? But he's one of the better ball strike umpires. He's going to have a longer leash. Just like Joey Votto is going to have a longer leash if he's hitting 220. If you just get called up, Alex McKay, I don't know his name, so he just got called up recently. He's going to have a shorter leash. You can't make as many mistakes. I get called up and hit 120. I'm getting sent down way before Joey Votto is.
Right.
And that's why is that not? Why can't that be how the system is run?
It can. I'm just saying the
They won't
union
do it.
will fight it. That's all.
Yeah.
And that's their right. And they could say, we don't like that. Everyone's out. Go get your own umps. You can do that. That's all.
They did that in 2005 or 6 in AAA.
I remember going to my
How'd that
brother's
go?
games.
That was
funny.
whoa. It was bad. You're talking about high school umpires coming in.
That was in high A ball too.
It was AAA all the whole way through.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Delman Young threw a bat and hit an umpire.
Oh my god.
Ugh,
We
it's
like
terrible.
to give umpires crap, but at the same time, the job ain't easy. I will say that. But everyone's allowed to give each other crap, but the job ain't easy. But I think robot umps can help. So at least in certain spots, like Todd Father said. So visit cookiepopcandypop.com, enter code foulball for 20% off, and let us know. Okay, that's always a spicy combo in Major League Baseball. I'm sure it'll be a huge topic of conversation in the offseason to see if they will go with that challenge system maybe as soon as next year. We'll swing poll results, picks, and some other news surfacing right now. And lastly, just a shout out to Paul Skeens, who made his pro debut. Little 1-2-3 inning in the the Florida Coast League they call it now.
Yep.
Didn't it used to be Gulf Coast?
It used to be Gulf Coast,
Yeah.
and now it's the Florida Coast League. It's basically just
Is that low A? What is that?
no, it's rookie ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, rookie ball. He'll be there for 30 seconds, and then he'll move up.
He's going to be there forever if he's throwing 11 pitches
Yeah, he's going to have to throw
11 pitches.
Like,
and
why is he there?
Most of them were a hundo plus.
against 17-year-olds.
Wouldn't you want to just start him in at least high A?
People are so scared.
That's-
Development people are
yeah.
so scared
Let-
of hurting pitchers.
Exactly.
Like their ego?
No, physically.
They're
They're
throwing
so
100. What's the problem?
they're so afraid of just the physical
mentally, too.
scared. There's no mental. This dude just pitched in.
But if he got lit up in high A and they sent him there, all of a sudden, like, oh no, let's talk to him.
No.
let's get him somebody.
I mean,
to
they
talk
might.
to. Yeah.
They might do that, but that's not. Player development needs to let guys throw.
He did pitch a pretty full season in college just now, though.
Okay, so when is he? So to me, say, when are you going to be in the big leagues? When is Paul Skeens going to pitch for you in the big leagues?
Next year, please.
Next year. So if he had 100 and I think I saw he had 120 innings, like 1 million strikeouts,
Yeah.
just under 1 million. We want to be accurate on this show. If you want him to throw 170 innings next year, let him get 30 innings this year.
Mhm.
So you don't have that jump. So you don't have, or this is the real brain, but this is the real moment. How about you teach the guy to not have to throw every one of his pitches 100 miles an hour every time?
But he doesn't even need to use his secondary stuff in rookie ball. He's like,
Yeah, but that's
hundo,
what
it moves, no
development
one's
is
touching
for,
it,
though.
who cares?
That's what he does need to do.
Yeah,
Just well,
He needs
move
to
him up.
command those.
and here's the thing.
Yeah, but he had a 1-2-3 inning. Nothing happened.
Yeah, but he's playing against 17-year-olds, like you said. He needs to develop those pitches because 100 gets hit.
Mhm.
I don't care who you are. 100
Hunter
will,
Green.
100 will get hit.
Yeah. And
It's
Hunter
great.
Green has life. And now back to foul territory.
Swinging back. All right. So we just kept it simple today on a Monday. Don't want to make your brains go too crazy. Just look up stats. Look at the starts that you've seen this year. Who's the AL Cy Young winner this year? Poll results are doing what they should be doing.
Yes.
Cole's winning.
Should be.
Yeah, it's Cole.
It's Cole. Right now, it's Cole. And we're
I
talking about
I love
right
that for him, but I'm just trying to go against
Yeah.
him.
now. And it's Graveman and Ohtani are kind of back and forth for that 2 spot right now in the poll.
Not Graveman, Gosman.
I
Yes.
was going to say, he loves Graveman.
What?
Well, you've talked about Kendall all the time.
He's really good, but he doesn't
I don't talk about
No,
Graveman all the
Hey,
time.
oh, what a good trade that was. What a great trade. He said it probably 5 times since we've been doing this after the
What?
trade deadline.
Kratz is on with me every day.
What a great trade.
Do you
Graveman,
feel like
Graveman.
wait, hold up? You feel
We can
like
go
I'm
back.
bringing up Kendall Graveman
Yes.
too often?
When we talk about trade, you talk about Graveman.
Oh, because no, I know what you're saying. Because during
He's
trade
brought him up.
deadline
He's brought
time,
him up a lot.
no, during trade deadline time, I said I liked what the Astros did, which included the acquisition of Verlander, and I said don't sleep on Kendall Graveman being added to that bullpen. Totally true statement. He's done quite well this year, even better with Houston right now. But I don't think I'm overdoing it.
No, I thought
With
you were.
Kendall.
You were. It's okay. I'm not mad. I'm just pointing out a fact.
Hey, Keenan Middleton was a great pickup
Yeah.
too.
Keenan was another one.
But don't give him too much credit, okay? Those dudes are just relievers. They pop in for 1 inning. They need to work harder
Pop
to get
in
more
and
of my
pop out.
attention. I like it. though. I
Gosman
like it.
has had a great. I think this may come down because Cole is kind of going. His
A little
outings
bit.
are kind of going down a little bit for Cole standards.
Sure.
I think it could be something that whoever makes the playoffs could
Really?
push it. I think Castillo's getting hot.
He
He's
is
getting
getting
into
hot.
double-digit punch-outs, 9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 9. Like, it's crazy. And then, so if he pushes his team into the playoffs, Gosman does what he was doing earlier in the year when he was punching out like 11, 10, 13, 11. I think it could be a case where they could push Cole a little bit.
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to catch him, but I think it could be a push.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, and the Yankees could be playing some less meaningful baseball soon. It could be happening. By the way, hour number 2, we're doing take it or leave it. That is
Whatever.
one of the questions, but I want some questions put out there from the people. Okay. In hour 2, you say a statement, take it or leave it, and we take it or we shove it right back at you. Let's do our picks right now. Your BetMGM locks
Love it.
for Monday. We look back as we always do because we keep receipts.
Yeah, Todd.
Todd Father gets a little
Went big.
clap.
He went big, too.
I did.
How big did you go on
I think
Cincinnati?
440.
He went 440?
440 went 400.
Wow. Boston covering.
I might be in the
For your
fours.
boy.
Might be over a G.
I was tracking you, Kratz. You were close. Burns had 5 Ks. I think Kopech had 4.
Kopech had 6. Burns had 5.
Is that what it was? Damn. Oh,
Should've
so
went
you were
5
1.
and 5.
That's
bro.
why
One
you
off.
play.
That
5
is
and
why
5
you
wasn't
play.
playing.
Plus,
Wasn't paying enough.
Only
hey,
up 800.
hey,
Claudia, what are we doing
sorry
here?
about it. Kratzy's up 1475. Todd Father and me
Claudia,
doing what we're doing.
Man, my numbers. I can't believe we're tied.
And it's not even Claudia. Like, she is using an
No, I
Excel
give her. I
spreadsheet.
give her my numbers. too.
It's a
We'll
robo situation.
a robo.
It's not wrong. There's no
Another
glitches.
robo
It's
umpire.
another robo situation. Okay,
She's
So-
flawless with it.
Exactly.
She's flawless.
She puts
with
a lot of work into
We'll-
it.
Yes.
we'll
Your
talk.
picks today, Todd Father?
I don't even.
How
I
you
don't even
feeling?
remember what the heck I.
All right.
picked.
Well, then I'm going to start.
If you want the truth, that's because I'm mad at Claudia.
All right, I'm
now.
going to start then.
No,
I'm gonna
I
start.
do.
You ready?
I think. No, you go first.
Okay, I'm going to start.
I'd rather you start.
So 7.5 is a low number. It usually means that you're thinking there's going to be a little potential pitching duel action going on. Houston and Miami, Framber Valdez against Braxton Garrett. That doesn't do it for me. And I love Framber. I'm one of the biggest Framber guys. But he's been super inconsistent lately. Gives up a 6th spot right after the no-no. He just hasn't been commanding his stuff like he has in the past. More hard contact against him. Still getting the ground balls. Still getting the punch-outs. I still love the guy dearly. I just don't necessarily think that he's going to give you, 7, 8 shutout innings. So even if he goes a little shorter or if he gives up a few runs, we're already halfway there. And Houston's offense looks fantastic besides yesterday. You're not going to bottle them up very often. Braxton Garrett is good, not great, and much better earlier this year. And both pitchers have very big splits. Framber is much better at home, and he's on the road for this one. Braxton Garrett's much better on the road somehow, and he's not good in Miami. So all of that adds up. I'm going over. Just, you know what, for Todd Father today, I'll go put me down for 240 to win 200.
Let's
Just
go.
to switch it up.
That's it.
All right?
Come on.
Let's go.
You know I don't do that often.
No, this is big. Big spenders.
Okay.
Max is even excited. My pick, 7+ strikeouts for Max Scherzer.
Nice. I'll
Okay.
take that.
That's it?
That's leading to me.
And then, no, Patrick Sandoval is going to get me 4. 4.
Under
He
4.
has gone. You're going to get him under 4?
No.
Okay. He is gone. He has gone 7 of his last 8, 4 or higher. And only 2 other times has he not gone 4 or higher. And Max is facing the Angels, who continue to strike out more and more as the season goes. They're still like 6th worst, but they were middle of the pack partway through this about like 3 weeks ago, and they have been striking out a ton and even extra against righties and lefties.
Just for that, I'm taking the Rangers -1 in the hook, plus 110.
Perfect.
I had it beforehand. You just led it into me finishing what we had to finish.
Need a lot of strikeouts. That's all. I care about.
300 to win 330. How do you do? Scott will not win. I will, so I'll be up on him. And we go to work. And now I'm going to catch you.
I think Scotty's going to win by like the 4th inning.
But here, Scotty
honest.
doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good today.
I'm
This is
tailing
one of
that.
those.
You
Okay.
could.
So there's the picks. Have fun with it and play BetMGM Swing for the Fences. You log into the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. You play the BetMGM MLB free-to-play game, and you're a batter. You pick an area of the strike zone, and depending on the area you pick, you get a single, a double, a triple, a homer, a pop-out, and you get the prize associated with that type of hit. You can play one today. Prizing must be used on MLB and expires in 24 hours. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. I hear you have home run picks for us as well.
Yes.
What do you got? Who's dingering tonight?
I just, when I heard home run pick, for just some reason, the sweet swing of Juan Soto came to me at plus 475.
Nice.
He's been hitting the long ball pretty far recently, like not even cheap ones, like bye baseball. So I'm just going to stick with it. Just going with my gut.
Okay.
and he's good against changeups. Only problem is you throw splits.
Oh,
so
split change.
He's probably going to walk him.
Okay.
That's why I went with
155 OPS plus. He's got 24 homers on the year. Who do you have?
Silently, I think.
Acuna has the highest run value versus a slider/cutter of any hitter in the big leagues. Guess who he's facing today?
Oh, let me guess. They're playing the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
And Schmidt's on
Piece
the
of
mound.
Schmidt.
Don't say that about him.
Throwing that sweeper, slider,
Hey,
cutter, just a different.
He's been throwing well.
And he has been throwing well.
He's been
And
throwing
Acuna's
well.
going to sit on it, and he's going to throw one that's going to be below the zone, and it's going to go out of the park, and he's going to give the whole, I can't believe it went out of the park. That's a great pitch. Not to Acuna.
And also the Yanks in general. Tons of dudes that throw sweepers. So in the bullpen too, no?
Everybody.
Yeah.
It's sweeper,
You
slider.
can't really be on the
Sweeper
team if
sinker.
not. Yeah.
That's what they're going with.
When we swing back on Foul Territory's
killing me
YouTube
right now.
channel for hour number
He
2,
is.
we're getting fresh news on Wander Franco, so we will fill you in on that and give you our take on what's going on. The Rays came out with a statement he's not playing. We'll get to that. We don't have time right here. We only got 1 minute. What I do want to bring up for the last 45 seconds, some people in the chat saying, hey, maybe Cole opts out after 2024. Don't sleep on it.
No.
Never even knew that was
He's
a
got an
thing.
opt-out.
Neither did I.
He's got a big boy contract, but he's got an opt-out. His boy Boris hooking him up.
What's going to
36 mil a year, but it could happen. Or you go 145, or you opt out.
No. He's going to stay.
No, he can get more than that.
No.
No? At that age? No? Not sure?
No, if my math is correct, he's going to be 38, 39 when he's done. He's not getting more than 145.
No? Okay.
No. Not
Great.
based on
Don't
how
worry,
Max
Yanks,
and
they're
Max
going
and
to get
Scherzer-
healthier and they're going to get
I
better.
mean, Max and Verlander went.
Yeah.
to the Mets.
Okay. Great off-season combo, though. Foul Territory's YouTube channel. Hit it.
Gotta let go so I can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gotta let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Hour 2 of FT Live. Braun, Kratz, Frazier. We were on one on Friday. It continues here. YouTube.
Can we
YouTube
change
kids.
that?
What?
Can I start it over?
You want to start?
Hey,
hour
we're
2
here on
over?
FT Live. Braun, Bratz, and Frazier.
Did I say Bratz?
No, I wanted to.
That's
'cause
your boy
that's
Bratz?
what he is.
Yeah. And he played in Milwaukee, so it kind of fits, right? Bratz.
Kratz.
Anyway, a couple things for everyone else to get involved with later on in the show. Number 1, we're doing Take It or Leave It, a very popular segment where we would like some of your takes. So I'll bring it up again later, but just start to stew and think about, something that you feel strongly about, or maybe not, and just want to get our take, and we either take it or leave it. Okay. That's number 1. Number 2,
Interesting.
we are going to play Immaculate Grid later on, but we're going to time ourselves and make sure it gets done in tidy fashion.
It's been my
So-
first one.
You haven't played with us yet.
I've never played ever.
Wow. I did
Ever.
not realize this.
Sorry, I'm excited.
The
though.
stakes have been raised. Can we show the grid for everyone so they can just start to
Oh.
absorb it? Okay. So you're just getting a quick peek.
I'm
Then we'll
screwed.
play later. KC, Dodgers, 300+ season. Angels, Tigers, Brew Crew. Okay.
Oh boy.
Just let that sink in.
Oh, I know one of them.
Well,
All right,
nope.
just relax,
Okay,
bro.
drop
I know
it.
one.
There we go.
Relax.
We'll
we
get
have a
to it.
time limit. You can't start before the
I know
time
somebody
limit.
that might be on 2 of those. Can
But-
you do 2?
No. You can only do one person.
Yeah, it's one person.
Yeah.
His name
it's-
rhymes with Bratz. That's all I'm
Oh,
going to
your
say.
boy Kratz.
You just gave him an answer.
Well, who else would it have
I'm
been?
always on the
I
Immaculate
don't
Grid.
know. Giving
Todd.
an
Steven
answer.
Matz.
Oh,
Shut
Steven
him.
Matz.
This guy.
That's good. That's good. I was like, who else?
It
Is...
was you.
It's gotta be rare though.
I mean, who's
Kratz
rarer
is-
than this guy?
He's getting popular. I'm just
he,
saying.
he is high school coach.
Yep.
Still mad he didn't
In
see his son's home
Pennsylvania,
run.
they always go Kratz first. All right, let's get to some serious news for a sec.
Okay.
We don't have all the details yet, so we're not going to start throwing things out there where we don't know. But there is a situation going on right now with Wander Franco where the Rays and Franco have mutually agreed that he's going to go on the restricted list right now and take a leave from the club for the duration of the current road trip. There were some reports saying that news came out Sunday about an investigation, potentially. There were rumors thrown out there about him spending time with someone that was underage, and then he's refuting it. It seemed like there was some type of social media video out there too. Haven't been able to see it all yet because this stuff's kind of coming out in real time. So we'll keep you posted when we have more information. But at the same time, he's not going to be with the team right now. It's on the restricted list. And for the Rays, he's one of their better players. And it's a huge distraction no matter what's going on at this point.
Yeah, we don't know all the details. Can't really speculate anything. You know, we hear from him saying, you know, people are trying to get something out of me, trying to do other things. You know, I'm glad he's talking, trying to get his point across, but we still don't have all the details, and it's something that's going to keep ongoing, and you know, something that's part of baseball right now.
I think they have to do what they did. The team and him, they're compliant to the investigation that they're doing. It's serious allegations, and if somebody is trying to extort money from him, if he did not do this, this is what you have to do. You have to come out and say you didn't do it. Like, I don't ever understand when people say, well, I didn't do it, but I'm not going to comment. You know, but there's legal things I don't understand either. So it's something it's very serious allegations, and a 3-game series, a 6-game series to miss, it's important. It's way more important to sit down, not play. The games are not that important. These allegations are very important.
Yeah, this is your life.
And this is real people's lives. Like, this is not like baseball can take a back seat for a lot of things in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of them.
Yeah. And I think apparently he left in the middle of yesterday's game when things started getting out there and rumors were flying and his video that he posted on social was thrown out there too. So he's not going to be on that trip. That trip is 3 games at San Francisco, 3 games against the Angels in Anaheim. So we'll keep you posted when we know more information about it. Our guy Ross Stripling joining us right now from the San Francisco Giants. Chicken Strip, how we doing?
I feel like he's got that same hat, and I
What's
love
the
it.
hat?
I don't know what it is. He just always looks the same to me, and I love every second about it.
What's that hat?
It's just a Travis Matthew hat. Yeah, it's I wake up with bed hair. You guys always have me on nice and early. I'm playing with the kids, and I got to throw on a hat to look nice for you guys.
Listen,
I
you
like
missed it last time. He was outside. He gave us a little.
Oh, I
nice-
was there.
You were there for that?
It seems like
I feel like-
anytime we interview him, I'm on.
Yeah, like
That's coordinated.
Yeah.
Is that one of the things, Ross? Are you like, hey, is Todd going to be there?
Yeah, that's it. When I signed up to do the shows with you guys, I'm like, I'm only on if Todd's on. That was the deal breaker.
Solid.
So you know, that's
Solid.
we got a solid thing going.
Smart.
We're making money in this market. Last couple of weeks haven't been great, Todd, but we're overall we're doing good.
I
Time to
wasn't
buy.
going to bring it up. I was just going to tell you, come down here. We'll go to Atlantic City. We got a better chance. How you feeling, brother? How's everything going with you, man? How's the family? How's everything?
Everything's great, man. Everything's good. Personally, I came off the IL a little bit for the All-Star break and have been, knock on wood, throwing the ball well. Just went through a tough Rangers offense and was able to keep them at bay until I gave up homers on back-to-back pitches on 2 crappy sliders. That's been the story of my year, man. I just have no room for error, but I'm healthy and throwing the ball well. And historically in my career, if I'm those 2 things, I'm going to have some success. So hopefully can keep it rolling. And then family's good, man. It's crazy. We got like 3 road trips left, and the season's winding down. So the Giants we're hanging in there. We haven't been playing the best as of late, but really everyone in the wild card race outside the Phillies and the Cubs, I guess, is kind of scuffling coming out of the All-Star break. So we're still right in the mix and doing good.
So you said, when you don't have a large margin for error. I was looking at how your last start went. Like, can you get some run support? Like, I know Max Scherzer's not giving you high fives. He confirmed that when he came on. But
Did he?
like, he did confirm it just last week. But
It was great.
can you give some high fives to your lineup? Like, are they like, Ross is on the mound? This is our DeGrom. Like, we're not going to give him run support. Like, you've kind of been hurting in that category. You need to buy the guy some dinner or something.
Man, I feel like you're setting me up for disaster with this question. Logan Webb is the guy that can definitely talk to that even more than me. I mean, just look at the game yesterday, man. He was on the verge of a complete game shutout. Gets to 2 outs in the ninth, and we pull him, and the Rangers score on a weird one, and we end up winning in extras. But our offense, man, it's definitely kind of come in waves through the years, and through this season. And right now, I think our guys are scuffling a little bit. I mean, you just kind of look at who, Conforto hasn't played in 2 years. I'm sure he's running on fumes. Wilmer Flores is the hottest guy we have, a guy that probably was going to play more against lefties only. Now he's in there every day. Jock doing damage, but maybe not as much damage as he's used to. So we're just kind of like ebbing and flowing offensively, and right now in a little bit of a lull. But I think we're confident that we'll come out of it. We played the matchup game and, kind of have the lineup against righties and lefties that has had success, and we're going to stick to it. So, but yeah, if I can do anything, I'm going to do it. I don't know what I can do to get them flying and hitting some homers and stuff when I'm on the mound. But, we kind of operate on separate wavelengths. I'm out there doing my job and they're trying to do theirs and try and get a W at the end of the day.
All right, let's talk about your battery mate, because I love everything that Patrick Bailey does, especially hitting walk-off homers. Like, every time I watch a game, it feels like he does something so cool, and yet it is so unorthodox. Like, the way he throws, he is the best receiving. He's got the best pop times down to second, and it's from a sidearm. It's from like a different kind of receiving stance. Talk about this guy and what he brings to your team.
Well, man, you can maybe even speak to it better than I am, or I can, as far as being a catcher. It is incredibly impressive for a young catcher to come up and to take on the workload that they have to take on. It's similar to like a young NFL quarterback, man. Not only are they expected to know every pitcher on the 40-man, as well as whatever lineup is coming into town, on top of, he's hitting in the 4-hole, hit a walk-off homer for us yesterday. We're expecting offensive output from him. That is a massive workload, man. And the narrative around him before he got here was like, because he's super mellow. He is like one of the most mellow teammates I've ever had, was kind of like, what's the care factor? Does he really, how much does he want it? And that was kind of the narrative. And then he gets here and it's like, man, what a pulse on this guy. Wow, can he slow the game down? It's like kind of crazy how they just flip it like that. But it's incredibly impressive. I think you look at like what an Adley Rutschman did last year for the Orioles, as far as how that team just turned it around the second he made his debut. Go look at us, man. We were like, I think, the worst team in baseball in April. We call them up sometime in May, and we've been right in the thick of it. And I think we're the best team in May. And that's a huge testament to him. Yeah, we've had other pieces come up, a hot Casey Schmidt, some other young guys make impacts, but he's been steady in the lineup ever since he got here. And I mean, we had guys like Logan Webb and Alex Cobb who called their own games, veterans, and they let Patrick Bailey, a rookie catcher, call their games now. So that is kind of can show you how much they respect him and what he's done for us so far. I can't really talk about it enough. I'm sure you're as impressed as I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was really sweet what he did. That ball got out in a hurry, by the way. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the schedule here, and you got some dogs coming up here, dude. Next 22 games, you're facing some teams that are all trying to get where you're trying to be. 22 games, these next 22. You think this is make or break after these 22, or no? You think it'd be all right?
It's 100% make or break, right? I mean, I think you got to say that it is. It's all teams that are basically in the playoffs now are fighting for the same position we are, like you said. So it's cool in a way to say that we own our own destiny in our hands, right? Like, we still play the Reds, we still play the Cubs, we still play the Padres, we still play the Phillies, so those are all teams in the wild card hunt with us. Yeah, we also have 6 in there against the Braves, who are just hitting homers left and right and killing everyone they come into contact with. But, it's nice to say if we go and win those games, we're setting ourselves up. So I think we got to have that mentality. But yeah, we're even saying that in the locker room. Coming out of of the month of August, basically a month we've had circled since the start of the season as knowing the gauntlet that it is. We'll have a really good idea of where we're at. So, stay tuned. Next time I come on here, we'll probably have a better idea what the Giants are doing moving into September.
The only thing I will say is, because we covered this at the top, the Padres have been weird this year, right? They can't really put it together, and it's working out well for your squad, obviously, that they've had their ups and downs. So yesterday they fall 5-4 to Arizona, and Machado, who you played with, and we've talked about, dude's, I think, sometimes misunderstood, right? But he did say before the game, it's do or die, and our guys are just like, pump the brakes. Like, we don't want to say that on August, at the time, 13th. And yes, it's a team that's got to start stringing wins together. My question to you is just, have you ever heard a teammate say something where you're like, dude, no, don't say that yet. It's a little too soon. We don't need you to say that we have to win a game in August for our season to continue.
Yeah, I think so. I think everyone has different times that they start scoreboard watching. I would say we're definitely in the thick of it now, but sometimes in like late June going into July, you're already scoreboard watching. You think like a series against, I don't know, let's say the Dodgers for us, and you're like, man, this is a do or die series. You're like, not necessarily. We still got 70 games ahead of us. So I've heard stuff like that in the locker room, and sometimes it gets said to the media as Manny's trying to be a leader for his squad there. I think we talked about this last time I was on too. So he's doing what he can to keep his guys motivated and keep that team feeling like they're in the hunt, and they need to stay hungry to win every game they can. But that's all stuff that we know and we're aware of, and so yeah, I think it's a little early to say it's do or die, but at the end of the day, that's kind of probably the mentality they have to have from here to the rest of the season to get into the hunt.
After the whole Tim Anderson, Jose Ramirez bout that happened last week,
Yeah.
You ever have, I've been asking tons of pitchers, you ever have somebody charge the mound against you?
Are you setting me up? Is this, do you know the answer, or are you asking?
I don't know the answer, but I want to know, because I want to know what's your go-to play? Like, what's your play if it's happened, or what's it going to be when it happens?
So this is I'd arguably the scariest man in the world charged me on the mound by the name of Giancarlo Stanton. This is 2017. We are the Dodgers playing the Marlins, and the close we're just killing the Marlins in a 4-game set. We just smoked them. This is the last game of a 4-game set, and we're killing them again. And they have to bring in their closer to get some work in a blowout game. And he gives up a grand slam. And the next hitter, he hits Brett Eibner, if you guys remember Brett Eibner. Yeah. And then he punches me out, and the inning's over. And I'm walking back to the dugout and basically get word that we need to respond. And I'm like, okay, well, who's up first? And they're like, well, Giancarlo Stanton is up first. I'm like, okay, here we go. So the whole dugout's on red alert and knowing what's coming. So I throw it, Giancarlo Stanton. I don't even know if I'm allowed to admit that, but here I am saying it. And before the pitch even reaches home plate, Chase Utley and Clayton Kershaw are sprinting out the mound. Giancarlo's on the way to me, kind of walking. He's not like sprinting at me or anything, but he's walking on his way to me. Austin Barnes is like holding him back by his cup. He's half the size as Giancarlo Stanton. He's not doing much for me there. And he's saying, you don't want to mess with me or something like this. And I'm like, I kind of agree. I'm like waiting for I'm waiting for Utley and Kershaw to get out there. And honestly, I think both sides knew it was coming. And you can go, it's on YouTube, obviously you can watch it. It's no punches are thrown, but it's a pretty good, Don Mattingly gets into it with someone pretty good. So it's worth watching, but yeah, that's me on the mound and my reactions. I'm not super proud of it. I could have looked a little tougher, but, yeah, that's how I chose to do it. It's worth watching if you got the time.
We've got the time.
We weren't even listening to what you were saying. We were watching it.
Yeah,
It was incredible.
Listen, Mattingly was chirping one of your coaches there. Who was that? The bench coach?
Is it Bob Guerin? I think it's Bob Guerin.
Yeah, that was like
Garen's tough.
That was the big old scuffle we're watching on here. He didn't charge you, but he kind of gave that slow Spartan walk like this.
Yeah.
Is Stanton.
Yeah.
Hey, you put your head down to it first. You're like, shit, here we go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I didn't go backwards, but I certainly wasn't in a rush forwards either.
No. You're waiting. You're like, well, am I going to throw my glove first? I mean, something. But yeah, it looked like Mattingly was the culprit there.
I mean, there's some people in this fight. I mean, not a fight, just a talking match. Dustin McGowan, I just saw. Dean Traynor was
Dean is nuts.
Dean Traynor. Mean Dean was in there. He was probably like, yeah, Strip, I love that. Yeah, throw it up and in. But I have to admit, you didn't back down. Like you weren't like
He didn't hit him though either.
Because I would say, Ross, you're a smart guy. You're a smart guy. You live to throw another pitch, and like even Dave Roberts, like he comes out of the dugout like I see G's like coming out here, but I don't know that we want like I don't want Ross to get hurt, but I don't want to get hurt. Like there is smart there.
Mattingly's looking for him. Oh, he pushed him. Yeah. Who was that? Number
So the other-
number 8. Yeah, Guerin.
He managed the Dodgers,
Guerin,
and Ross, Doc looks like he's coming out of the dugout like he's trying to steal second base in the 04 ALCS, you know?
That's what I'm saying. The second I let go of that pitch, everyone's flying out of that dugout. I think everyone knew it was coming.
pissed.
And it's funny. I think of another video where Arenado just starts charging at it might have been Perdomo, and Perdomo just starts running around the infield while Arenado's chasing him. I think it would have been like that. If Giancarlo would have come at me like that, I think I'm sprinting around just avoiding him until someone takes him by his legs.
That was great. I love when coaches get nasty with other coaches. I think you see that happen more than none. You see the old school coaches like Mark McGuire. Who was he like hip tossing?
Dude, we just had it. The episode just came out
exactly.
last week with Mark McGuire, who does not speak much, and it was probably the most epic coaches brawl in the modern era or something like that.
Yeah.
Stop that guy.
Big Mac,
Yeah.
Matt Williams. There was like 2 or 3 other big coaches.
It was him and Matt
out
Williams.
there.
That's who it was.
Kirk Gibson
Yep.
was in that fight.
Maybe.
It was
Wow.
just a bunch of dudes going at it. Like there were the players at first, and then all the coaches start coming out, and it's just like, all right, forget that. Anyway,
Yeah. There's some old beef need to be settled there.
yeah. Ross, when that happens, though, obviously you're put in a situation where it's like, this is how it is, and this is what needs to happen. Do you get respect, and what's the conversation like after the game from your teammates?
I think it depends on the situation. Oh, the video's popping up now. That's funny. You know what? I think it depends on the situation. If it was kind of justified, I don't think you'd ever hear a teammate complain about it. Yeah, somehow missed I think it grazed him, but I somehow missed the most giant dude in baseball there. So, it depends. But for the most part, you're always going to have your teammates' backs and support whatever madness might have just happened. If it's a coach, I don't even know what that conversation is like. Like, damn, Mac, like what got into you there? But I think for the most part, you're always going to be like, good job, guys. Like we had each other's backs, and if it happens again, we'll do it again if we have to. So I don't know. I've only been a part of a few of them. Normally they're pretty cheesy. A couple guys talk, Puig and Bumgarner talking smack, just to talk smack. 2 alphas out there, just not having it with each other. But for the most part, I haven't been a part of anything crazy besides the one I started myself there.
That is crazy. But next time, throw it G, like something larger on G. You threw it his waist. His waist is like this big. Like you have his huge shoulders. You have his ginormous legs. Like throw it something a little bit bigger. So that's why you missed him.
Yeah, part of my process there. If I hit him in the butt, I'm thinking, maybe he doesn't feel it, doesn't care as much. If I go up by the neck, which I would never do, but if I did, I think he's coming at me hard. So that was part of the thought process there.
For sure. Now let's shift over to the Blue Jays. Old teammate, they sent Manoah down back down to the minor leagues. How do you as a veteran leader on a staff get to a guy that says, because we kind of talked about before when he was sent down, how do you talk to a guy for his second time he's sent down? Or do you just let him go?
No, I think you got to say something, right? And you got to just acknowledge that, man, it sucks. And your future as a Blue Jay is still as bright as ever. And even this season, we're an injury away from you still being a pillar of our rotation. And we know it's in there. We've seen it for 2 years. You've been as dominant as anyone in the American League. And he still has the mentalities of being one of the biggest competitors I've ever been around on the mound. It's like him and Walker Buehler as far as like when the lights are on, how they're able to kind of turn it on as young guys and just know that they belong at the big league level. But I hope those guys are definitely, reaching out to him and telling him, It sucks, man. A roster squeeze like that. We got 5 guys that are healthy and they're veterans, and you still have some stuff to go down and work on, get your command right, and come back. And we're going to rely on you to pitch some big innings for us down the stretch. And if not as much this year, you're still a dude moving forward for us. And try and say it that way. It'll probably go in one ear and out the other, as it does for those guys, because they'll be, kind of distraught over the move and feeling like the team's leaving them behind. But, probably almost all of us in this room have been optioned down at some point, and it sucks. But it can also, you can choose to use it as a motivator, which I think Alek Manoah will do. And my guess is we'll see him back up there soon.
All right, so I'm going to connect you to some other former teammates right now, Ross. So you said, there's going to be some scoreboard watching at this point in the season. How about schedule watching? Do you know the last 3 games of the season for San Francisco?
Well, I know they're the Dodgers, but I don't remember if they're in LA or in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, the Dodgers. So not only your former team, but now you've got multiple former teammates, right, that have moved back to your former team. So is that one that already has trash talk involved via text? Like, obviously you're tight with Kike. Is it, hey, we're hanging around, we're not necessarily coming to get you? Obviously they're crushing it in the division, but that could be very meaningful baseball for your squad against your friends.
Yeah, I would say it's probably a little early for that. That's still 6 weeks down the road. If we were to already be talking, let's say maybe we're just exchanging pictures of our kids or catching up about live or whatever, and then you might finish the text thread with something like that. But we already talked about the gauntlet we have ahead of us with these 22 games and the rest of August through the start of September. So we'll get through that first, and then we'll probably start circling those series, because we go Dodgers, Padres, Dodgers to finish the season. So we'll certainly start reaching out and acknowledging those 6 out of 9 games that are going to be huge for us. And the Dodgers in a world probably have the division locked up there, but it's still a rivalry, and we'll obviously as Giants be playing for our future of the season as well. So you'll start mixing in some trash talk, especially since there's 6 Dodgers former Dodgers on the Giants right now, and we're all still close with each other. So you'll get it going.
I missed that too, Kratz. There's a 4-gamer and then the 3-gamer at the end. So right. So there's 7. You got it. He's on it more than me. What do you got? You got a big finisher?
Yeah. We got one last question for you. You believe in aliens?
Man, that is a big finisher.
You
know what?
Or do you believe aliens have stock markets where they're from?
What? Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you say what?
You're saying aliens have a stock market?
Yeah,
we're not the only one.
They have their version of Atlantic City and Vegas, and you know what, man? I don't know. It's like the one guy coming out talking about aliens got everyone stirred up. If more than one guy comes up and says it, maybe I'll buy into it. But for now, I'm gonna choose to ignore it and live in my bliss of having no idea of what's going on out there.
Live in the present, live in the season. Okay, he'll save that stuff for you. Good call. We don't want to piss them off, especially if they're there. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, no.
Ross, great catching up with you, dude. As always. What's up?
I was gonna see. Did y'all see that outrageous Barstool that was like, if there are aliens, are we gonna eat them? I thought that was the funniest thing in the world, because it's there's nothing out there that we haven't tried to eat. And they're like, I mean, we probably tried porcupine and realized you don't want to eat it. But if there's really aliens, are we going to try to eat them? And I was like, this is the most outrageous 5 minutes.
While we're on some weird questions, let me ask you this weird question. Do you put your milk in first in your bowl, or you put your cereal in first?
You put the cereal in first. I just don't. I've never seen anyone do it the other way. I've been asked that a couple times now. I think that's an outrageous question.
Is that a thing right now?
I guess it is.
Is that a question? I don't get
know.
that.
Have you ever met?
It's like the hot dog sandwich thing.
It's the what sandwich thing?
No,
it's
not.
It's a hot dog sandwich. It's kind of it's one of our video board things. Like the Giants in spring training asked us. It's one of the, and I think 10 out of 10 said cereal first. So I don't even know why they play it. I mean, it's not.
I want to meet somebody that does it the other way if it's an actual question.
Yeah, exactly. Could we bring them on even if they're not a baseball person? I don't get that. I get what you're saying, Ross, where you bring up something, it's a little controversial, but it's all fun, and you pick an answer. I genuinely just don't understand that one.
Maybe they don't want it to get too soft too quick. They like the crunch of the cereal.
Right. So you put the milk in, you dump the cereal real
So
quick,
you got
and
more.
then you just start.
Destroy.
If they like the crunch, why don't you just skip the damn milk? I mean,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
What is your
That'll be
go-to
a-
cereal though?
Oh gosh, good question. I still eat the super sugary stuff like Trix and Captain Crunch and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah,
Cinnamon
I
Toast
don't eat
Crunch.
cereal a ton, but if I do, it's a treat. So I'm going all in. I'm not eating like Raisin Bran. I'm
You're the
going.
all-American dude. I love it.
Hell yeah, baby.
Love it.
Ross, great to have you, dude. You're off the
Yeah.
hot seat.
Yeah. All right. Appreciate it,
man.
guys. Y'all keep up
You
the good
too.
work. See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time,
Later.
dude. Ross Stripling of the San Francisco Giants with us on FT Live. Good stuff. I like you guys getting a little weird at the end.
We are.
That's good.
He never really he believed in aliens.
Yeah, he
Todd
was.
Father? Oh,
No.
Ross?
Todd doesn't believe in anything outside of
Wait, what?
his compound. He just believes in.
But he would
believes-
eat them. He would eat them. Not a
He would
person,
definitely-
I
but
would not eat aliens.
no? Would you eat alligator?
Listen, I know you watch me. I wouldn't eat you. I've had a.
Have you had alligator?
Yeah, I've had it before.
See? So you
Yeah,
try
it's all
some
good.
things?
Yeah,
Tried
I
some
mean,
weird
not
shit?
up here. Like when I go down south, they're like, oh, you got to
Obviously.
try this. I wouldn't
Yeah.
eat a squirrel. I know that.
No, don't eat a squirrel. You don't
No,
eat
I
alligator
wouldn't
up
eat
north. They don't
roadkill.
come from here.
But some people eat squirrels.
Yeah, what's wrong with
What?
trying a squirrel?
Who
Why
eats
would
squirrels?
You not,
You've eaten a squirrel?
Yeah, why would you not try it?
Oh,
Squirrels jerky.
God.
Squirrels
Switch-
I hope people
Switch
know that you're
chairs with
kidding.
me.
I hope people
Switch
know that you're
chairs
kidding.
with me right now.
Absolutely
You
not.
have to try. You have to
No,
try
There's
everything
way too
once.
much stuff
No.
plugged into my brain right now. I'm not even a real person.
I was hungry until he said that.
We're totally off the rails.
Jesus,
Things will
you've
get back
eaten
on
a
track
squirrel.
eventually.
Squirrel jerky.
On that note, if you want to be as cool as Eric Kratz, can I interest you in some Shady Rays? Can I?
Shade.
Okay. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that will not break the bank because we care about you, frankly. Okay. So they're an independent glasses company, sunglasses company, world-class product, and it's just as good as any expensive, super expensive pair that you've seen, worn, experienced, tried on. They're like, we can do this for less. And they did. Durable frames, extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And we've all got our pairs, not with us at the moment. I did not let them because we are inside, but we can model them at times for you in the future if you'd like to see them. Or you can look back, or just why don't you go to the website and use the code FOUL, FOUL. If you hit shadyrays.com, it's just for our listeners and our watchers. It's their best deal of the season, 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shade's rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. And still coming up, we'll do a little take it or leave it, taking some of your questions and accepting or rejecting them. And I'm very much looking forward to That's What He Said today. Great quote from Sal Fasano. I told Kratz
Love
about
him.
it. I don't know if you saw it yet,
I
Todd Father.
did.
It's about fights.
I love it.
It's really good. All right, but right now we're ready to bring on our next guest. I listen to his pod every week, does a great job covering sports media business, and perfect timing to bring him into the fold right now. John Ourand joining us from the Sports Business Journal, and you can check out his pod too. We'll give you a little more information on that. It's with Andrew Marchand. It's the Marchand and Ourand Sports Media Podcast. John, great to have you on here for the first time. How are you, and how are you doing as a very devoted Orioles fan?
Hyperventilating. They keep winning. Did you see that game last night?
Oh, baby.
It's just so fun because I have a son who was born in 1999. I live in DC, and I made him be an Orioles fan. And from 1999 for I think the first 14 years of his life, they didn't eclipse the 500 mark. So just being able to be in these exciting games is new and unique. You know, it just hasn't happened a lot, so it's a lot of fun.
So if it hasn't happened, are you nervous? Are you nervous because
No,
you
not
think it's
nervous
gonna
at all.
happen?
They could have lost. That'll come. I think that'll come eventually. But right now, it's just fun. They're great young players, exciting young team. It's fun having games that you care about. So no nerves whatsoever. Really, it's all great.
No, and I love that, and you deserve it. Why? Because you had to go through the ugliness of tanking. Right? Which is not fun for the baseball fan. So before we get to the broadcasting side, for you as a fan to get the real picture here, is it worth it? And what effect does it have on a generation? Like you're kind of on the ground, right? Like we don't live in the area. Do you lose a generation when purposely not good for like 6 years? Obviously, you see it in the attendance, but the concern is always like, is there a 10-year-old that's like, well, I'm not watching 105 losses for 4 or 5 years. This is not good baseball.
I think so. In Baltimore too. I mean, one of the fears that I had. I mean, so I have 3 kids. My son stuck with me, and he's with the Orioles because he just was through thick and thin. My 2 daughters, they went to the Nats as soon as they could, and you have Philly up to the north and the Nationals down to the south, and all of a sudden, like if you lose 115 games for 4 straight seasons, that has to have some sort of effect. I'd prefer to be pretty good the whole way through. But it's intoxicating looking at the young team that they have on the field now, knowing the players that are coming up through the minor leagues. I mean, I'm looking at Holiday's stats, and I can't. I'm salivating. I can't wait for him to come up. So, is it worth it? Ultimately, probably. But boy, that was a rough 5 years.
Yeah, you gotta wipe it out. It was tough.
Worth it? Come on, you would rather have been cheering that whole time.
Of course.
I think so. I hated it, and I wanted them to pay all the way through. But like, we're gonna be? It's like the Astros. They're gonna be good for a decade or more.
No.
No.
You don't think
the
so?
Astros paid their players.
That's the one difference. I will say, John, because I want to get to the broadcast stuff. But
well, this is all good feelings. Come on, man.
They pay. I mean, they're paying Jose Altuve $30 million a year. John Angelos.
So when you asked, were you the one that asked if I was nervous? Like, re-sign Rushman and Henderson.
Yes.
Like, I'm already nervous about their contract years. Totally.
Too late. It's too late. Unless the Orioles get sold in the next 4 years, it's too late. Adley Rutschman's already going to cost you $200 million.
Agreed. He's already 200+ mil player.
Because he's doing. I keep saying Buster Posey comp type of things just because of his makeup. Not even talking about his ability on the field, because he's doing what Buster did and he leads that team. Buster got 160 back in 2012, the year they won the World Series after he won the MVP. 160.
That was a long time ago.
You're a Sports Business Journal guy.
Yeah.
We're talking 200 million.
Yeah, he's 200+. And it goes up every day, right? It goes up every day. And every time they don't get swept, and it's been a million months already, it's 70-something series. So, all right, let's get to your specialty here. I want to make sure we focus on this because it's super important to me. I've worked in the MLB world for a long time, and now obviously we're independent here, so we can go wherever we want to go. Your thoughts, and to reiterate some of what you've said on your pod, but bring it to this conversation on what has gone down with Kevin Brown and the Baltimore Orioles, not just the suspension, but now coming back and the statement that we saw from him on Friday as he returned.
Well, the whole thing is just so odd. And it's, when we were talking, so it's hard for me to talk about this without also sounding like a fan too. So I'm trying to cover this from the business sense, but from the fan, like we went through. I'm speaking as a fan now. We went through 115 losses a season for 4 or 5 seasons, and this season has been so fun, and they've exceeded all expectations. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of like just a magical season, it's like a once in a generation season. The owner has to decide that he wants everybody to remind everybody that he owns a team again, and it's just like all of the angst about re-signing him and all the bad feelings about 115 losses just kind of come out again. And it's just, my fear was with this young group that it was an off-field distraction that. When they're coming up through the minors, they haven't had to deal with. All of a sudden now you're in first place. You have a target on you, and now you have to deal with everything off the field, which is bizarre. The problem also that I've had in terms of dealing with this is when we report on stuff like this, we always go to both sides, and there's usually some reasoning on the other side that you could disagree with, but it's a legitimate way of looking at things. And this idea that you can't, what he said was he was in Tampa Bay, and he was talking about how the Orioles hadn't won there in 5 years, and they already had more wins this year against the Rays in Tampa than going back to 2017 combined. and the edict from the team is more, we don't want to talk about the 115 loss seasons. We don't want to look cheap necessarily. And we just want to talk about how good this team is, which I thought he was doing. So if I'm Kevin Brown, I'm almost feeling like, what can I say, or how can I say it? It's tough in those terms. He came back for the Seattle series, so I think it was he was off television as of July 28th, and he came back for the Friday night of Seattle, which I think was the 11th. So it was about 2 full weeks. And just he came back. He didn't address it at all on air. I think he thought that the tweet would address it. And they had a couple of really exciting wins. They had a 10th inning win. Actually, they had 2 10th inning wins on Saturday and Sunday. He had some great calls and some really good opportunities to make great calls. And so now we have a pod coming out actually on Wednesday, and we talked about this a little bit. If you're Kevin Brown and your contract is coming up, I think it comes up in about a year or so. Does he have to go? I mean, so how much does? Because this doesn't happen to announcers, that one, I think it was a Saturday night, or was it during the week, when the crowd at Camden Yards was cheering "Free Kevin Brown," and he was at home and he could hear this. I mean, that's got to be an emotional moment. I mean, how much can you think of somebody who has adopted Baltimore as his hometown, is beloved by Oriole fans, is the voice potentially of a team that's going to be really good for a lot of years? How much does that weigh in versus working for an ownership that doesn't give you the kind of leeway that you would get pretty much at any other team? And that's the big question to look at moving forward.
Well, let me ask you this follow-up then, John. Why would he have to go? Because I think he already kind of drew a line in the sand with this statement that is one of those, hey, blink twice if you need help kind of situations, because clearly the team kind of helped him put together what he was going to say on Twitter, and kind of didn't say anything and didn't provide any answer for it. So he just wants to enjoy his job, do his thing. I think if he leaves, it's more probably about money. I've heard that the Orioles pay lower than any other team, Masson, for Orioles broadcasts. So I could see that being the case, as anyone's going to, think about their livelihood. But otherwise, I feel like they kind of just brushed it aside, and now he's going to go back to doing his thing. I think there's a bigger picture of how much this affects people thinking that it's state-run media and being entertainment and trusting what our broadcasters are saying. But I don't know if, everything's the same, if he would feel the need to leave,
I totally agree with you. I think that this is his decision. And I think that, if he has designs on becoming a national broadcaster, and he does do some games, not baseball games, but he does do some games for ESPN in college, it could be like, all right, let me sort of spread my wings and do something a little bit differently. I don't think he has to leave. I think it's totally his decision on whether to leave or not. And just the fact that he bought a house there, is trying to raise a family there, and really seems to have touched into some sort of something with the fan base. I think it's a unique situation for him that, maybe he'll give the Orioles and Masson a hometown discount.
Yeah, and as you see some of the quotes that he came out with, saying how the relationship, I have a great relationship with the brass and these people. I kind of felt like maybe he was being pushed to say that. I don't want to speculate at the same time, but it just felt like the whole situation, it was just like, I feel like he's kind of trying to brush it off to be like, can we just move on from this? But when it was a serious problem that they had there, what they made there, I just felt like the quotes, were from him, but at the same time, like, just trying to brush it off a little more just to move on.
Yeah, it felt like North Korean statement that came out of sorts. I think he wanted to get back on to call. I think he's an elite play-by-play voice. He has a good voice. I think his calls are good. He rises to the big moments, and I think he just wanted to get back on air. And it's like, what do I have to do to get back on air? And that was a statement. That's how that read to me.
Hey, John, so we're in a different world now. There's more transparency. Things get covered in 5 seconds, right? And we had the free Kevin Brown chants right after, which was awesome from the crowd. Because really, when you get back to the core of this, the suspension was total bullshit. Like, he wasn't even close to tiptoeing the line of what should be unacceptable in terms of what someone can say. I feel like this sort of grab of free speech that goes unpunished shouldn't go that way. Like, I'm hoping that behind the scenes, someone like Rob Manfred had a conversation with him. And I know owners are sensitive. Not all. Some are like, hey, go for it. Say things. I know we've talked about like the Mets broadcast and certain broadcasters that are like, hey, we're going to tell it like it is. But do you think that something should be done, or we should be concerned about the state of media as far as what teams put out there when they control so much of the media? It's like you need some believability here, and also to remember that it's entertainment. He wasn't even saying like, oh, remember how we tanked for 6 years and we totally sucked and our owner's cheap as hell? Like, he literally read a graphic. If that's a problem, it creates scare tactics. Like, this is their livelihood, right? Like, that's his salary. That's other people's salaries too, who are not as good as him. They're going to be concerned about what they can say, and that makes baseball more boring.
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw this back on you guys, because you're now independent and you had been with MLB Network. I mean, this is how things have been going with NBA TV, MLB Network, NFL Network, and then with teams owning all of the team rights and hiring for the booths and everything. This might be an extreme, but we've seen a lot of this, I think, across leagues and across networks. And, it's something that's been, the lines have been blurred for going on like 2 decades right now. But really throwing it back at you, do you feel like you're independent? You could say more than you would have been able to?
Oh, it's not even close. It's night and day. I didn't even realize sometimes like what the main topics were. So yes, I think there's a
you
vast
weren't really even told. I bet you just kind of like innately knew. I better not go there.
Yeah, there's both, and there's both, right? Like, sometimes it's talked about a ton, and sometimes what your standing is, who you're working for. Here's where I think the problem is. I think the younger generation wants more honesty, authenticity. I think they want more spice too. So when it comes to opinion and commentary about a sport, I think the believability when you are working for a team or a league, if they're not allowing you to say what you want to say, or not even close to that in a situation like this, they're not going to turn to you to get your take on something. You want to document a game, that's fine, right? But when it comes to like a pre and a post game show or any kind of talk show, how am I supposed to believe anything that you're saying when you have to look behind you significantly? Obviously, there's a line, right, in terms of what you can say and not offending people, right? But to me, this has gone so far past all of that, this particular case, which is what concerns me, John. So I'm with you there. I would be concerned, and I think it's no secret. You talk about Pat McAfee all the time on your show. It's no secret why you look and you're like, oh, look, independent guy saying whatever the fuck he wants on a show. He's getting all the attention, stealing eyeballs from league run or even just like more of your corporate world legacy media. Oh, let's bring him in because he's got this fan base now. That's what we want. That's what I was following.
See, you put your finger totally on the larger issue at play here. Like, I've referenced my son a bunch of times. Like he's as big of a fan as I am, but he consumes it totally differently. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch the game, and he's going to consume it over Twitter. He consumes it over independent media all the time. So, that's his expectation level, because he follows, reporters or whoever on Twitter or whatever social media site. And that's a big issue. All the leagues are trying to get younger, and all the leagues are trying to figure out how to get him to spend money on his fandom, as opposed to me. I have to pay for, my cable system, or I have to, buy better seats. He'll just buy a nosebleed and scroll through Twitter, and they're not really getting any kind of money out of him. And so that's a big issue there that you put your finger on.
And the one other thing I'll bring up and kind of mention to you and get your take on is, I'm sure you've seen, and Ken Rosenthal's part of our team at Foul Territory, he ended up not working with MLB anymore. So it's not just, pod digital social world. It's influencers doing goofy TikTok dances or something. Like, no, Ken Rosenthal is an established, super trusted, elite insider and opinion in our sport for a long time. And he's at The Athletic. Yes, he does games for Fox, and that's different with documenting the game. He's not doing a long talk show. He's got a talk show with us called Fair Territory, and he comes on our show. I think there's going to be more of that if it's available, especially for someone who's had such a successful career, to be able to continue to operate the way that he wants to operate, which is just tell it like it is. He's always trying to be fair, but to be fair, you have to say what you want to say.
That's another good point too, because I don't want to just pick on MLB Network and NFL Network and NBA TV. I mean, you look at some of the decisions that ESPN has made through the NBA booth, and they'll deny it. But like the idea that one of the NBA's biggest critics and Jeff Van Gundy is no longer there as they're trying to get right the NBA rights, makes you arch your eyebrow a little bit. The NFL is well known about contacting the networks and saying, like, we don't like this message getting out. The sports leagues have become so powerful vis-a-vis the TV networks that you don't just have to be a league-owned entity to feel that pressure to sort of toe that line.
Speaking of powerful, go back to Angelos in Baltimore. What is this whole stadium like? How can they not play in Camden Yards? How can they want something more when they're already getting $600 million at the end of this season? It'll kick in once they sign the lease. Like, what is? I need more transparency, and this is one of the reasons that we started this show. The show is awesome for transparency, but I think there's some very not transparent owners. This guy is like a recluse. And then he comes out when he wants something else. Like, it's like, I don't understand. I don't understand what's going on, and I need to find out what is going on with this whole ballpark issue and how this is going to get resolved.
Are you talking about John Angelos? And by the way, John, then you can answer this. The owner of the Orioles, or the president of Masson who makes millions of dollars?
Yes.
Oh, wait, it's the same person.
Yes. The guy who's self-employed.
Just sign the lease. Sign the lease. All my sources say that there's various reasons for the holdup, but they all believe that the lease is going to be signed. But the fact that we're in mid-August and the lease isn't signed is starting to cause a lot of angst. There are a lot of other markets that don't have professional baseball teams. I'm looking at Charlotte. I'm looking at Nashville that always get mentioned. But everybody associated with the game, from MLB offices to the Orioles, say that there's nothing really to worry about there, that they are going to sign the lease. But it's not signed. So until that happens, there's gonna be a lot of that angst.
All right, so let's finish with this, John, because you do a lot of prognosticating, both with your articles and then especially on the podcast you have with Marchand. What do you think specifically the future of baseball media looks like? And you can go anywhere you want to go, whether it's the games, and obviously I know you've covered a ton of what's going on with the regional networks and the league taking some of that, but also definitely curious on how baseball can continue to keep up, because we talk about this a ton, and like Kratz said, part of why we put this together, we got 10 player hosts and Ken and all these people involved, is that we felt like at times baseball was falling behind from a content perspective and giving people what they want to hear from players, which was like real talk, cursing, all of that, which we see with so many players in football and basketball that have started their own media companies. So your take on how baseball keeps up with the rest of the pack there?
When I first started working at Sports Business Journal, I always viewed baseball as a really old school sport. And I realized, like, this is the sport of, Major League Baseball Advanced Media, BAM, and they were at the forefront of streaming, and they were at the forefront of that sort of access. And they seem to they've lost their way a little bit. But I'm going to take it where the big story take your question to the big story that I've been covering for the past year, and that's the regional network situation. And right now, baseball is really in the process of trying to get all of its digital rights back, because one of the complaints about baseball is that it is such a regional sport. It's not a very good national sport, especially during the regular season. And they think that comes down to the playoffs as well. Sort of, once your team stops playing, it's hard to get those fans invested into teams. Not as bad as hockey, but it's certainly a little bit of a play there. The way that fans are going to be able to consume baseball is going to be so much better than than what we've had for the past decade or so. Baseball is really pushing to end the blackout rule. I expect that to be gone at some point. I think the idea of sort of home markets, if you're an Orioles fan who lives in Milwaukee, you can just pay. You don't need to subscribe to cable. You can watch an Orioles game, or whatever Orioles game you want. If I'm an Orioles fan living in DC, like I am, but I want to see Ohtani, I'll be able to sort of click on that, as just kind of it's going to be a more affordable way of doing that than the out of market package, the extra innings package. So I think they're on the way to really trying to maintain the regional strength, but really nationalize the game so that you can watch whatever you want to watch whenever you want to watch. It might cost a little bit, but for what you're paying for cable now, it's probably not going to be that bad.
Oh, there was nothing I heard more about working for the league from fans, right? Nonstop, like, end the blackouts. Let us watch this. Let us watch that. And I mean, obviously didn't respond, but I'm like, you're talking to the wrong guy. I am definitely not the one solving that problem for you, man. But I am with you. I am with you, P. I think there's nobody that actually thinks like, oh, I don't want that person to see. And that's finally where the league's like, all right, enough of this, right? We need our fans to be able to access us as much as possible. So yeah, I'm with you. Hey, John, great to have you on. Appreciate it. Super important topic, obviously very relevant in your world on many fronts, including the team that you root for. So thanks for joining us. Great to talk to you on here.
Thanks for the invite, man. Really enjoyed this.
Thank you. Appreciate you. And you can follow John Ourand at OURAND_SPJ, writes for Sports Business Journal, and also, as we mentioned, on his podcast along with Andrew Marchand. Good stuff there, but important topic, obviously. I get passionate about that stuff.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he should. He should.
Well,
Like,
you guys talk about at-bats, experiences, all that, and I tee you guys up. But for this one, I'm like, yo, you can't tell a guy he can't read a fucking graphic.
And I lean on you for this stuff because the whole like government TV and everything it opens my eyes. Like, I guess I'm ignorant to that kind of stuff. And the more we're doing this, I haven't watched that channel in a long time. How much did they cover the Kevin Brown thing? How much did they cover the Oakland A's thing?
Yeah, you can go down the line. It's just they're not allowed, It's owners have a lot to say.
Did they say, well, they banded together. Oakland A's fans banded together. Wow, we saw the Orioles fans band together, but not actually talking about what it is, or they just completely ignore it?
I wish I could give you the answer too, because I'm not watching much, right? I could text some friends and ask, but my guess would be like on Brown, for example, 0. My guess would I would say strongly that
like
was
they could easily
that was not getting touched, right? It would have gotten touched if I was the commissioner and I know shit's complicated, I'm calling John Angelos and I'm going like, dude, no, not allowed to do this shit, or I'm going to suspend your ass, right? I'm the commissioner. I'm hired by all of the owners to oversee the betterment of the sport. That's my job. I know that's not necessarily how the job is nowadays. It's more like a CEO position working for the owners. But there are 29 others that are probably embarrassed about what you're doing right now. So, no. You put him right back on the air right now, and you issue an apology saying we had now you can cover yourself a little. Hey, there was a misunderstanding about something going on. He's right back on the air. Our bad, right? Some accountability. Now, that's not the case. It's the son of a freaking owner, a dude that's never accomplished anything in his life. So, anyway, let's move on. Take it or leave it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with the Orioles just because they're hot right now. This game is very simple. You accept what we're throwing at you or you reject it. And we will take at least one or two topics from our lovely fans of FT right now. Okay. So if you have a take it or leave it, we'll give you some examples and then play along if you want us to ask Kratz and Frazier. Orioles will make it to the ALCS. Take it or leave it, Todd Father.
I'm not. I'm going to leave it.
You're leaving it?
I'm leaving it just because it's their first time again. I go with experience over making it there. I'm going to go with experience, and I don't think they will.
Okay. Kratzy?
I don't know how the brackets pan out.
No, me neither. I said that, but I don't. But yeah.
But I told you last week, I'm going to ebb and flow the whole rest of the season with the Rangers, and the Rangers got Jonah Heim back. I was like, oh, yeah. And then the O's come right back, and they have some epic wins. Epic wins after deflating losses to the Astros. So, yes, I'm taking it.
You're taking it.
I'm taking it.
Okay. I'm leaving it. I think division series not I think they'll fall in a division series. I'm not confident about it, but if I'm forced to, I'm leaving it. Everyone else, let us know what your thoughts
All
are.
right.
Next one for Todd Father, because I mentioned it at the top, so I got to hit it. Yanks season is toast. Take it or leave it.
Why do you say it like that? You get like real excited when you say
No,
that.
I'm not excited
No, I
about
did.
it. No.
Yanks
So,
season is
No, I'm
toast.
frustrated.
What do you
I'm
want?
Yank
frustrated.
season is toast.
That was-
And then he went. The Orioles are going to make the
Scott,
No,
you
hey,
did a
I'm
great
from
job.
this area. I want the Yanks and the Mets to do
They
well.
are
I
not
think it's
toast.
good for the sport.
This weekend is the monster weekend.
This week. He means this week.
This week. Sorry, I'm still
You're
I'm still vibing.
The
you're
whole
vibing.
week.
That's fine.
So these next games against the Braves are going to be do or
Do or die.
die. Oh, yeah.
Manny.
Manny.
All right, so you're leaving
Not
it
over
for
yet.
now. You're
Not
leaving
over
it
yet.
for now.
Not over yet.
toast. Okay, you?
I was a huge Yankee proponent. I was singing their praises. Hey, once they get in, they have starting rotation galore. Rodon's going to be healthy. Nestor's going to be healthy. Well, then my last quote was, "Man, this bullpen is solid. This is going to push them right into the playoffs." This weekend, this loss on Sunday made me feel like they're toast. And they are
So you're taking it.
buttered, toast,
Oh, butter.
maybe burnt. They are done, and I appreciate that you work for the Yankees.
That has nothing to do with it. I'm going with my
Their
what I feel.
rotation is decimated, and here's the biggest part of it. I'm just looking at the standings at this point, and I'm like, who are they passing? That's the big part too.
It's huge. They
This
need
is
help.
not a
They need
crappy
help.
race. Yeah, that's
And
why
that's
they
the
need
worst
help.
feeling in the world.
Yeah, someone else, second place in the AL West is making it. So Rangers or Astros, probably, right? Whoever gets in second, they're in. Okay. The Rays, even though they've had some starting pitching injuries, they built enough of a lead. They're in.
One more.
So now you're looking at one spot, which is currently held by the Blue Jays. The Mariners are right on their tail, 1.5 games back.
I gotta see this.
There's still Boston in front of them too, and then there's the Yankees. I'm with you. I think it's the Mariners and the Blue Jays duking it out down the stretch,
And it's going to be
for
epic.
that last spot.
It's going to be epic.
Yeah.
And that is where I feel like it's going to be. And another telltale sign, not that one person makes it happen, but this lineup has to stop striking out. And your leadoff hitter the other night struck out 5 times. Jake Bauers is doing a great job of getting on, low batting average, whatever. But when your leadoff hitter strikes out 5 times, it just feels like a culmination of what's going on. And I have rallied to hopefully, Hosey's on, Trevino's on, and I'm like, you're going to come around. He's on the IL. Then it's, this is what they're going to do. And it just never seems like they rally behind anything with their lineup. And I'm taking it. They're toast.
All right, and one from a fan, because we're tight on time, and then we can play this again later this week.
Sure.
So D-Rod in the YouTube chat was asking if the Yankees should have walked the bases loaded in the 9th instead of pitching to Berger, who was 2 for 4, and Sanchez was 0 for 4. Do you walk the bags full and create a force all over the place?
Probably should have.
No, the matchup. So I wasn't watching the game. I went back when I saw this
You were at
question.
Phil's, yeah.
And I looked at the situation. You go Jesus Sanchez, left-handed hitter. You don't take into account he's 0 for 4. You take into account what he hits. Yeah, but that's the time.
And he's up against Canley there if he's up.
Get him to roll
Canley,
over.
So Canley
I'm not trying
pitched
to go
against
over the top
Berger
here,
and
but-
gave
No,
up
I
the
feel you.
walk-off.
I'm going on feel. And it was 0 for 4. He struggled, and maybe they should have walked him.
That bullpen is made based on what they have, and its success is based on where they put those guys in those situations. And I don't think Tommy's, while his changeup is legit, I don't think he's a right on left candidate. You are going after that. You made that move because if you're gonna walk him, you're walking him with Holmes on the mound. Clay's walking him, and then you're bringing in Tommy. They wanted to go after him, and I think that's the play because water level's out. At some point, Jake Berger's not a 500 hitter, so I'm going to go with the bet that Tommy's going to get Jake Berger, who short swing through the zone. What do you struggle with if you can't keep the bat in the zone very, very long? off speed,
Yeah.
sliders, changeups. He hung a changeup middle in, and
Yeah.
Berger
He was hot.
Berger ate
man.
it.
He's hot.
Immaculate Grid time. Ready?
I'm nervous.
Got to
First
be
time.
speedy. So the one I showed before was just an example. This is the real one.
This is the real one?
Okay.
Okay.
So absorb it for a sec. We've got Cleveland, the Nats, and 30-plus stolen base seasons. Top row. Left side, Yankees, Rays, 200-plus hit season at the plate. Now, I want to just reiterate
I
that
could use you for one of them.
Todd Father has never played
He
this
didn't play
game
for
in
the
his
Indians?
life. This is his maiden voyage. We have a rookie on the table right now playing with us. Now, the reason I said I'm not great at this, Todd Father, because I'm too recent all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You pick recent guys, you get punished for it because so does everyone else. And you want to pick random obscurity if you can.
This is.
But you got to get it right, okay?
All right.
You ready to go?
Can
Timer
I go?
starts now.
Can I get? Oh, you get timed. All right,
Well,
no,
we're doing it just because we're
timing it.
tight
Go.
on time
I'm
today.
gonna go for the first one. Yankees, Cleveland. I'm gonna go Jay Bruce.
Okay.
That shouldn't be much, right?
Yeah.
For a
Well, we
recent
got
dude,
time.
that's a good
That's
start,
great.
though.
That's a great one.
I like that.
Hey, give me some. You
How
don't want.
we doing, baby?
There we go. That's probably the only
What
one
is that?
I'll
I
get.
can't even see it so
0.8.
little. 0.8. 0.8 is perfect.
All right.
That's awesome.
That's a great first start.
All right. Now you guys are gonna have to help me with this.
Okay. Kratz, you got anything good for us right
yeah,
now?
I'm gonna go.
You looking at it?
Great. I like Grady Sizemore for 200 hits in a season
So 2-0, Grady Sizemore.
because
Cleveland.
I'm trying to stay away from that like Baerga, Kenny Lofton,
Yeah.
those guys for smaller.
Okay. Is he a no?
That's brutal by me.
Ooh,
It's 2 weeks in a row where I
that's
went
a miss.
a miss.
So do you get charged for that?
You
yeah,
get
you're
charged a lot.
automatically your score's automatically at 100.
Oh, damn.
So we got destroyed just now, but it's okay.
All right.
Kratzy went
We
for
can
it.
still,
Can
we
I
can still
go-
do awesome.
No, I can't do that. Who did Savali play for the Rays and the Cleveland Indians? Is he on the Rays right now? Right?
Yeah.
That's super
That's a
recent.
lot of-
Yeah,
That's
a
you'll
lot of
you'll
points.
probably get crushed on that one.
Yeah, that's a lot of points.
Okay.
Like AJ early goes, middle left, can't forget Julio Franco's one at bat with Tampa Bay.
Come on.
Yes.
I mean, that's
Wow.
tremendous.
yes. So give me Julio Franco, middle left.
Julio Franco. I mean, Jiminy Christmas.
0.9.
Good for you.
Nice. That's gorgeous. The fact that there's even close to 1% on that one, people remembering Julio Franco with the Rays. Come on. Beautiful. All right. Anything Nationals wise? Do we have a Nat and a Yank?
Man,
A Nat and a Ray?
we only got. Says we only got 6 guesses left.
200 plus hit season. We're at 3-minute mark here.
Less than
What
3
about-
minutes.
For did Jose Lobaton play for the Rays and the Nats? I know he was on the Nats. He
I
was the
think-
Rays too, or no?
Was it?
Joe's Lobaton?
Yes.
Jose Lobaton?
Or Chirinos.
Give me
I
Lobaton.
think Lobies.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Lobaton definitely played for the Nats.
Yeah. Did Chirinos play for the Nats?
No.
No.
1%.
Jose
Okay.
Lobaton. Oh,
Very nice.
Gorgeous.
love
Gorgeous.
that.
All right. Let's see what else we got here.
I'm trying to think of the 30 stolen base seasons. Like I love the Brett Gardner. I love the.
I don't know if we're gonna
Yeah.
get this in there though.
Let's just put it in. see
We
what
have
happens.
time.
We
We're
do
gonna-
have time.
I mean, we have like
No,
2
I like
minutes.
that pick. I'm saying we gotta
Yeah,
we gotta
put
hustle a
Gardner
little
in there.
bit.
See if that works.
2 minutes.
Boom. Guardy's on there.
Well,
I mean, it's not a great
19
number, but
19's
it's there.
high.
Can I interest you in Tyler Clippard for the Nats and the Yanks?
Yes.
That's such a good one.
Okay. Garrett Wilson contributing.
Appreciate you, Garrett.
How about
Nice.
nope, can't do
Higher
that.
higher than I thought it would be. What is that? 9? Is that
That's
a 9?
niner.
Wow.
200
need-
hit season. I want to
Eddie
say
Murray.
Christian Guzman had a 200 hit season, but I can't look it up.
How about Julio Lugo? 30 bags for Tampa Bay.
Julio Lugo, did he get that many?
Yep.
Oh, I'm on there. All right, there we
There you
go.
go.
Nice,
And
that's
let's take
1%.
yours. Screw it. Guzman
Christian Guzman.
Oh, I love
for the Nats.
I think he had 200 with the Twins, so that's why.
Oh, you're thinking it was.
Eh.
That's an
We got one guest left, Sugar. All right.
200
under the minute
hits.
mark.
Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, I feel like the easy ones for Cleveland is like Kenny Lofton
Travis Hafner or something.
or Baerga. I don't think Hafner.
Bottom
200
right,
hits.
we're getting some Juan Pierre thoughts.
Oh, yeah.
It's his birthday today too.
Is it his birthday?
Oh, JP,
How'd we do?
what a great teammate.
I mean, obviously, it's
not
not a
good.
great number when you're wrong, but that was
It's
good.
not
That's a
good.
2%er right there. All right. It happens.
Shows I need for those stats. It shows I need to.
I
It
need
shows
to-
I need to have the baseball reference.
I'm kind of fired up for it, though. I got to be honest. I want to play again.
You'll play again.
It's
Thank you,
fun.
guys.
It's
Let's
fun.
slap.
Teammate style.
Little Kratz action. What do you got today?
Today,
Solid.
solid. I just got to every time I'm going to break out the Brewers hats here. It's the alt jersey for the Brewers. I gotta make sure everybody listening, because now I think we're over 15,000 subscribers,
Let's go.
sees the glove. This is an iconic glove, the logo.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't see the M and the B.
I see.
Baseball people see it.
Mm-hmm.
But you were how old when you found out that was Milwaukee Brewers?
Like 2 years ago for
Yeah,
me.
not a year. It was single-digit years ago for me too, and I've worked in the game for a while.
For a
it wasn't
long
right
time.
off the
It
jump,
has
but
to be shown.
I'm ditzy, I will say.
If you cover there, you can see it's a
Those are the
It's a B.
demonstrations we crave.
It's
All
a
right,
B.
Todd Father's going to be calling Little League World Series action soon. So can we get your analysis here on the walk-off in PA?
Yeah, this was pretty sweet. Big Trev going deep, opposite field here. 7th inning, they played extras, 2-0-2 count. Their first hit of the game. This is why Little League is great. All it takes is one swing, 2-1 walk off Johnny. Look at the coach. He was going crazy, man.
Love that.
A lot of fun. Close to your neck of the woods. I know you'll be
Media.
rooting for him.
Media, yep.
Solid.
Big lefty hitting a dinger.
And they also, there's a big thing in Williamsport, which people need to know.
Mhm.
Pin trading. For my second year now, I made my second pin. It's my 25th anniversary of the Beast from the East. It says up top, Tom Javrise, 1998 champs. Got the bats with everybody's name in it. They got me. Side. Put myself in gold there, so everybody knows. Hey, listen, it's my own pin. I want to design it the way I was. We got the Beast right here, right there. It's like the size of my hand. These pins are getting bigger and bigger, so I had to keep up with the Joneses on this. So
Can you post that on
Imagine
your on your socials
I will.
too? Because
Imagine
that's
putting
cool.
that John on your hat.
You can't.
Like, you're not putting that on your hat. You're not even putting that on your house.
No.
Like, I hope Todd doesn't trade pins with me.
Please.
You know, if you're really getting after it in
we
the
don't-
gym, sometimes they'll wear what is it, the belt, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
weighted belt. You put one of those on, you're gonna get stronger.
When he first showed
Check
me,
it out.
I thought he made it for like the kids in the home run derby. I mean, then they hit a
No.
home run in the Little League World Series. Like, they'll spin that thing.
There'll be some trading going on late night over at the Genetti and the Holiday Inn. Check it out. It's
25-year anniversary.
That is
Yeah.
legit. We're going to be running this show also on Amazon AMP coming soon, okay? Just more to the party for the Foul Territory crew. You can sign up
right.
and follow. It's free $99, right? Get into the Amazon AMP app, and here's the little extra incentive, okay? If you're trying to listen live, we'll be taking some callers.
Oh,
Okay.
I like that.
We'll
I
be
like
taking some
that.
callers at the end of the show.
We
So
got Todd from Manayunk.
get
on the
after
line.
it. Get after it.
Scott from the Schuylkill.
Oh, New York City and Philly radio is nuts. So, bring whatever you got to bring. Obviously, be nice, but bring what you got to bring.
Yeah, we
Air
want
it out,
honesty.
therapy, the whole deal. Will be on Amazon app. Can't freaking wait. So, more details coming up later this week. Let's hit that music. And also, we'll let you know, at least I'll give you one guest for tomorrow that'll be joining us for the first time on this show. Brady Singer
Oh, nice.
of the Kansas City Royals. He was giving some shit to Whit Merrifield. Remember about the
Oh, yeah.
golf tourney? He was like, "I'm gonna place a little wager. He'll be playing in
That's-
that tourney." We'll talk to him about Royals life. He's pitching tonight, right? Yes,
Yes, he is.
He's pitching tonight for KC against the hot Seattle Mariners ball club. So I'll watch his start. and then we'll talk to Brady tomorrow. Obviously, there'll be more. We post the guest list every morning, so we will see you on Tuesday on FT Live. And I'm flying back to Florida.